All right, I put go live, but I don't see us on the screen yet, do you?
Hang on. Yeah, we're live, 20 seconds.
Why don't I see us on the screen?
Because you're probably looking at the YouTube screen and that's the StreamYard screen.
Hang on, I gotta turn off the volume on my phone.
Because you're probably looking at the YouTube
screen. Hang on, I gotta turn off the volume on my phone.
Because you're probably looking at the YouTube.
Hi Phoebe, how are you? I'm gonna play a countdown with some music while we're waiting for some people to get in here, so hang on one second. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Type in a 1 if you can hear me. I'm still new at this, so I'm trying to make sure everyone can hear me. Edward, you got something running in the background. Hello, Phoebe. Hello,
Yep.
Truth in You. Hello, Robert. Hello, P-Keel, Bob's Donuts. Sock Party. That's a new one. Okay, they can hear us. Okay, we're just winging this. We just decided a half hour to go live. We're going to cover a variety of different things. Hello, Cheryl.
Well,
Edward,
hopefully you have
first,
a variety.
I do have a funny variety. I actually have the David Paddock Furries video pulled up. And before we start, though, since last night on the live we were talking about the Iranian plane that went down. I know there's some new news about it today. I was going to let Edward cover that briefly before we get rolling.
All right.
So, do you have anything you need me to screen share, or are you just going to talk?
I'm just going to talk for now, and then there is some 3 links of videos in the private chat there.
All right. What's the first one that says Gamble Bravo?
That's nothing.
Okay. So the links, do you need me to pull them up now or not until you say?
No, you can pull them up now. Actually, let's see the videos first, and then I'll do the article.
All right. So I'm going to. They're probably going to give us commercials first. Okay, so you want to watch these videos first, so I need to hit screen share, right?
Yeah.
All right, hang on one sec. Audio.
Because sources believe it might have been hit by not one Angela G.
All right, I'm ready to share it. Tell me if it doesn't show up.
No, it showed up. Oh, this is the Canadian Prime Minister, isn't it? No, we can listen to him. We can't hear him, though. Is there any sound?
There would be if I tried to figure out how to get the sound to go. There should be.
This fatal crash.
There we go. Hang on, let me rewind it.
The news
there
will
we
undoubtedly
go.
come as a further shock to the families who are already
Hush.
in the face of this unspeakable tragedy. We have intelligence from multiple sources, including our allies and our own intelligence. The evidence indicates that the plane was shot down by an Iranian surface-to-air missile. This may well have been unintentional. This new information reinforces the need for a thorough investigation into this matter. Canada is working with its allies to ensure that a thorough and credible investigation is conducted to determine the causes of this fatal crash.
All right, well, there's that one. That's Canada saying that not only are they using our sources, but they also have sources of their own that are confirming that that Ukrainian plane has been shot down.
Something's totally malfunctioning for me here.
Okay, like what?
I don't know. Didn't you hear a bunch of weird sounds?
No, I didn't hear anything.
You didn't hear the Prime Minister talk?
I heard the prime minister talk. I didn't hear anything after that. I thought you
Oh,
were pulling
okay.
up the other link.
Not yet. I was trying to get that one situated. Hi, Sean. Hi, Angela. Hi, Bet Rose. Um, no, I was trying to get that one to work, and I thought maybe I messed it up. But okay, so you want me to pull the second one up now? The first one was the Canadian Prime Minister, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right, let me get this next one up. All right, screen share. The screen sharing is what I have the trouble with. Add volume.
Say satellite imagery and communications intercepts confirmed that Iranian missiles shot a passenger jet out of the sky early Tuesday morning. This video taken from the ground appears to show the moment a missile exploded, the fireball streaking across the sky. Ukrainian Airlines Flight 752 left Tehran at 6:12 a.m., headed for Kiev. U.S. sources say 2 minutes later, 2 Russian-made missiles fired at the plane. Seconds later, a mid-air explosion, the plane crashing to the ground. U.S. officials believe the shootdown was an accident, as Iran was on high alert for a U.S. counterattack after firing missiles at U.S. troops in Iraq.
It was flying in a pretty rough neighborhood, and somebody could have made a mistake. Some people say it was mechanical. I personally don't think that's even a question, personally.
Among the 176 on board, 11 Ukrainians, 82 Iranians, and 63 Canadians.
We have intelligence from multiple sources, including our allies and our own intelligence. The evidence indicates that the plane was shot down by an Iranian surface-to-air missile.
Ukrainian news organizations say this photo, unconfirmed by NBC News, shows what could be the remains of a Russian-made rocket. Iran calls it a fake. At the Kiev airport in Ukraine today, friends and family members remember the passengers and crew members with flowers and photos.
Why they decided to take off 3-4 hours after an attack instead of just saying, let's stay on the ground for a while, that is a question that I can't answer right now, but it's a question that needs to be answered.
Tom, you've been reporting from the beginning that aviation sources were suspecting a missile. What was their biggest clue?
The size of the fireball in the sky, an engine fire would not be that big. Pilots would still have been able to fly the plane, and they would not have lost all of their comms at once. This plane went completely dark in a flash, just 2 minutes into the flight.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos.
All right. And I think there's one more video in there, isn't there?
I think there's 2 more. Did you want to talk about those before I click the other ones? Or are we just going in a row?
No, just go in a row. I'm gonna dispute the fact that the both 2 missiles hit the plane at the same time here in a minute, but I agree with everything else that news report said.
Okay, I've got the next one pulled up. I just need to wait a minute. I'm not too good at this screen sharing. Okay, screen share. I'll eventually get the hang of this. This one's Trump.
It's a tragic thing. When I see that, it's a tragic thing. But somebody could have made a mistake on the other side. Could have made a mistake. It was flying. It was flying in not our system. No, it has nothing to do with us. It was flying in a pretty rough neighborhood, and somebody could have made a mistake. Some people say it was mechanical. I personally don't think that's even a question, personally. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't want to get, that's up to them. At some point, they'll release the black box. Ideally, they get it to Boeing, but if they gave it to France or if they gave it to some other country, that would be okay too. I think, ideally that will be released. I have a feeling that it's just something very terrible happened.
Okay, there's one more to do,
All right.
and then Edward's going to talk. Did the last one come through all right?
Yeah, that one worked, right?
All right, so I think I've got this figured out then.
See, the plane's already dark. There's no lights blinking, no lights flashing. The plane has already been hit with the first missile, which explains why this guy started filming it in the first place.
From multiple sources, including our allies and our own intelligence. The evidence indicates that the plane was shot down by an Iranian surface-to-air missile. This may well have been unintentional. This new information reinforces the need for a thorough investigation into this matter.
I have my suspicions. It was very, I don't want to say that because other people have those suspicions also. It's a tragic thing. When I see that, it's a tragic thing. But somebody could have made a mistake on the other side, could have made a mistake. It was flying. It was flying in not our system. No, it has nothing to do with us. It was flying in a pretty rough neighborhood, and somebody could have made a mistake. Some people say it was mechanical. I personally don't think that's even a question.
Well, listen to that sound
Okay.
too.
Someone had asked why they were
So-
wearing the hard hats. And I just wanted to say
I'm not
Trump
sure.
was giving a speech somewhere. Well, I was watching the speech on TV. He was giving a speech somewhere, and those guys happened to be there for whatever purpose his speech is. But when the press started asking questions, they were asking all these questions about the Iranian plane, but that wasn't really what his press conference was about. And I can't remember what it was, but he was giving some speech somewhere about some plant closing or something like that. I don't remember. Hi, Discerning Light. Oh, it was Discerning Light that asked about the hard hats. Okay, go ahead and talk about the 4 videos a little bit, Edward, before we move on to another subject.
All right, I'm just going to sum them all up in one speech here. And Ukrainian officials were Thursday considering terrorism, a missile strike, and a catastrophic engine failure as potential causes for the fatal crash of one of its airliners in Iran. As aviation authorities in Tehran revealed, the jetliner was on fire before it came down. Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council chief Danilov is said a meeting was taking place with Iranian authorities where various causes behind the crash were being studied, including a theory that the plane was hit by an anti-aircraft missile. Other theories under consideration are whether there were technical problems with one of the plane's engines that caused it to explode, whether the plane could have collided with a drone or another flying object, or whether there was an explosion inside the plane. The Ukrainian International Airlines flight PS-752 came down just minutes after takeoff from Tehran on Wednesday, killing 176 people on board. The Boeing 737 was headed for Kiev, where 138 passengers were expected to take a connecting flight to Canada. Ukrainians, Swedes, Afghans, Germans, and British nationals were also on board. 82 Iranians were on board, 63 Canadians, 11 Ukrainians, 10 Swedish people, 4 Afghans, 3 Germans, and 3 people from the UK were on board. Conflicting claims about potential causes to the disaster began hours after the crash, where Iranian state media blamed technical issues and Ukraine ruled out rocket attacks. Within hours on Wednesday, officials in both countries had walked back those initial statements. An initial report by Iranian Civil Aviation Organization on the crash sites. Witnesses are saying the airliner was on fire while in the air and changed directions after a problem, turning back towards the airport. People on other aircraft at higher altitudes also saw the flames, Iranian officials say. Images of the wreckage show the plane torn to pieces, its parts charred and strewn across a field. The timing of the crash had fueled speculation, coming just 2 hours after Iran fired missiles at 2 Iraqi military bases, housing United States troops in retaliation for the killing of its top general, also in Iraq. The exchange of attacks between Tehran and Washington on Iraqi soil is a dramatic escalation of tensions between the adversaries and is a rising fear of another proxy war in the Middle East. Ukraine, which had never had a crash before Wednesday, had said it was highly unlikely the cause was error by its crew. UIH was founded in 1992. Tehran's airport is complicated and the pilots require several years of training to use it, said UIA president. The captain had 11,600 hours of flying a Boeing 737 aircraft, while the pilot had 12,000 hours on that aircraft alone. While it's early to speculate what might have gone wrong, openly available flight data provides some clues. The 737 climbed to an altitude of nearly 8,000 feet before taking off from Tehran, before the aircraft's data suddenly disappeared, according to flight tracking service Radar 24. Radar 24 said in a tweet the jet had been in service for about 3.5 years. According to former FAA Chief of Staff Michael Goldfarb, the lost data is very unusual and could suggest a catastrophic incident. While the data is lost at 8,000 feet, suddenly that implies something catastrophic happened to that airplane and they could no longer communicate with ground control. An airliner should be able to keep flying even if one engine fails, which means pilots normally have time to communicate and recover the aircraft. The Boeing 737-800 is a predecessor to the company's 737 MAX, which has been grounded since March after 2 fatal crashes that killed 346 people. Goldfarb said an uncontained engine failure would create the type of large fireball reported by witnesses. Could be to blame, but it was too early to tell. An uncontained engine failure in which pieces of the engine break apart releases shrapnel that could destroy the plane. Alan Deal, a former aviation investigator for the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, Federal Aviation Administration in the Air Force, said that the engine failure would be one of the main focuses of an investigation. All of those are certainly on the table, he said. Canadian and Swedish authorities have been invited to cooperate in the investigation, the Iranian Civil Aviation Organization said in a statement, while the first joint meeting between Iranian and Ukrainian experts sent to Tehran to investigate the incident has already taken place, but tensions between the U.S. and Iran are already complicating the probe. Searchers have found the plane's black boxes, which could offer crucial evidence about what happened to the plane leading up to the crash. The Tehran prosecutor told Iranian state media. But Iranian officials don't plan to share information from the black boxes with the plane's manufacturer, Boeing, a United States corporation, as is usual in crash investigations. The U.S. will not be involved at any stage of the investigation, he said. Under international rules, Iran is responsible for the investigation, but Ukraine should participate in the probe as a state and registry and state of operator of the aircraft. So should the U.S. in the state of design and manufacturer of the Boeing aircraft. According to Goldfarb, Iran refuses to work with Boeing would make it impossible to carry out a fair and thorough investigation. They have to work with Boeing. Boeing has all the data, owns all the drawings and designs. They have the engineers. They know the plane. But they're refusing to work with them. The United States and British officials, along with other officials from Canada, all have independent sources that 2 missiles, Russian missiles, that were in Iranian possession had hit that plane. So I believe that plane was shot down still.
I think it was an accidental missile.
Yes.
You think it was shot down on purpose or
Accidental
accidental?
for sure. I think it was shot down accidentally. I think that they thought that that was going to be our attack on them for their 20 missiles or whatever that they fired at us. So they tried to take that down as soon as they could. I think it was an honest mistake by the Iranians, but now they're being extremely dishonest by saying it was a mechanical failure.
Okay, so wait a minute. Are you saying that the plane took off and accidentally got hit by a missile that was going somewhere else, or are you saying that they purposely hit that
No,
plane?
I'm saying they purposely hit that plane thinking it was something else. Thinking it was our
Oh,
attack on them, our response to them.
okay, I gotcha.
We
Did
sent
it?
we sent 6 bombers over there. Bombers, you know, if you're gonna send a plane that size, you know, bombers pretty big, and you're gonna drop. It's bombers are for carpet bombing. You got fighter jets for targets that just specific targets, right? You use a fighter jet for that. A bomber is just gonna carpet bomb everything. We were sending 6 bombers over there. I think that they might have thought that that was gonna be our attack.
So, HVAC is saying to Truth and You, so Canada would be in on it then, and why? He was asking Truth and You something.
Canada isn't in on this. On what? Canada is saying the same thing the United States is. Canada is saying the same thing British officials are saying. Hey, Fonzby.
Fawn Spy's here, Pats is here. Oh, Debbie just got here, Misha's here. HVAC's here. Misha's
G.
got a link to a
Sure.
video. Hang on a second.
So to answer
Misha,
your
do you have the
question,
link handy? Because I can give you a wrench, and if I give you a wrench, you can drop the link and we can play it. Is it a long video or a short one?
so to answer your question, Angela, it was not an Iranian plane. It was a Ukraine plane, and almost 3/4 of those passengers were flying to Kiev to get a connecting flight to go to Canada. Or, yeah, actually, most of them were.
Okay, Misha, I gave you a wrench, so if you drop that link, we can play it. There was another channel that covered this pretty good, so she's got a link for us.
Perfect.
I don't know this other channel. The name sounded familiar, but I don't know if I'm subscribed or not. Okay, good. It's short. Okay, yeah. As soon as you put the link in, I can play it. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy over this plane thing, so it's pretty interesting.
Phoebe, I don't believe so. I don't think Iran would. I mean, I don't think Iran would risk pissing off 6 countries because Ukraine cooperated with the president of the United States. I don't believe so.
Debbie wants to know if you think it turned around.
I think it was hit with the first missile. That took all of its electric out. That's what killed the black box and all that. It killed the whole and everything that powers the plane. There was no electricity on the plane, nothing. And I think that it started coming down at that point, and then the other missile hit it. And as it was about to crash, I think that something exploded. Probably one of the engines exploded at that point, which caused that small explosion immediately before impact. And then the impact caused a large explosion. No, I don't think it tried to turn around and go back. I don't think it had time.
Okay, Misha said she dropped the link, but I don't see it in the chat.
I don't either.
Misha, the link didn't make it into the chat. Can you drop it again? Just copy and paste it right into this chat.
Well, the FFA runs American. The FFA is American. It's not. I mean, the FFA cannot determine what other airports do, and I mean, Ukraine owned the airline. I see the link now.
Okay, let me grab the link. Okay, I see it. Go ahead and keep talking while I pull this up.
So the FFA doesn't run. They don't control Ukraine. They don't control Iran. They don't control Canada. They have no say in other countries' flights.
Okay, Edward, I'm getting ready to play this.
Okay.
This is from Misha. It's only 4 minutes long, so it should be pretty good.
You can see the missiles trail turn toward the aircraft. Yes, they were locked on. So they would go wherever the plane went. Hey, can you take the comment off? I can't see the whole screen.
I seen all the signs, I seen all the signs. They've been telling lies, they've been telling lies. Watching how I move, watching how I move. I've been keeping track now. Watch out for the snakes. Watch out for the snakes, yeah. Watch out for the snakes. Watch out for the snakes, yeah. Watch out for the copying what I do every time. They wanna take what's mine. They busy faking and telling me lies. Now I watch out for the snakes. Watch out for the snakes, yeah. Watch out for the snakes. Watch out for the snakes, yeah. Watch out for the copying what I do every time. They wanna take what's mine.
You see a pattern?
Me lies. Now I watch out for the snakes. You've been so focused on me. Damn, I think you forgot about you. Feel like the goat, I'm surrounded by sheep. Damn, you've been busy watching me move. Paying no mind, staying no line. If you've been wondering, I'm doing fine. Made 150 in a year, I'm only 22, so don't pay me your time. Back for the track and I've been moving up. I'm a bachelor, but you know I've been getting love. And I'm back, I'm a rap when my life getting tough. I'm a master of the craft and I never give it up. I put in time, I earned the shine, I worked it out, I made.
سیمه برق مواظب باشید.
Where's all the big pieces of anything?
Well, this is what we were talking about earlier about how do we know this isn't propaganda?
How do we know what's not propaganda?
The whole plane crash.
Well, the plane was the missiles. And it blew it to pieces. When it crashed,
Wait a minute.
What the hell?
حتیش کنم ببینم رو آنتنه بچه ها بگو آنتنه
I seen all the signs, I seen all the signs. They've been telling lies, they've been telling lies. Watching how I move, watching how I move.
We begin with the breaking news of a Ukrainian passenger jet plane has crashed shortly after takeoff from Tehran, killing at least 170 passengers and crew. Rescue workers say there were no survivors. The Ukraine International Airlines Boeing 737 was bound for Kiev. Iranian media reports say the aircraft came down due to technical problems.
So we begin with developing news overseas where at least 63 Canadians have been killed. Overseas where at least 63 Canadians have been killed.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Now, the plane was a Boeing 737-800 model, an older model than the Boeing 737 MAX, which had been grounded for nearly 10 months because of 2 deadly crashes.
Another development on Saturday, New York officials revealed at a news conference here in the city that a hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
They've been telling lies, they've been telling lies. Watching how I move, watching how I move. I've been keeping track now. Watch out for the snakes. Watch out for the snakes, yeah. Watch out for.
All right, I'm still convinced that that's an actual plane crash due to it being hit by 2 rockets, though.
Well, the music in there sounded really familiar, so I think it might have come from All the World's a Stage because Jeffersonian Girl said she mirrored it.
Yes, probably. I don't know.
but that was a propaganda hoaxer video. But the thing is, it's like you never know with these things because you just
Okay,
don't
so they're
know if
gonna
they're
say
doing that.
they're gonna auto hoax it and say the plane didn't exist anyway. Some people are, but I mean, what was the stuff? There's more evidence that the plane was existed and was hit by missiles than the plane didn't exist and nothing happened there.
I don't know.
I mean, I see the hits in the sky. You know, obviously that you've seen that missile was you seen the trail, right? And it was hitting something. What did it hit? It hit a plane that's power was already out, and so that's why you couldn't see the plane until the missile hit it.
Are you a paid shill?
No, I'm not a paid shill.
I'm just kidding.
I'm just
You
somebody who's
sound like one.
I'm just
kidding,
somebody who
though.
speaks fact. I mean, Iran's lying, and that plane was hit by 2 Russian missiles. I'm a person that speaks
No, I
fact.
think it really
all the
crashed
time.
too. Yeah, I think it really crashed too. Yeah, I think it was a real plain HVAC. It
Yeah,
was an
I think it's a
interesting
real
video,
plane.
though.
I see. I thought it was going to show. Look at all these other plane crashes, and look at how big the pieces of the plane are. You know what I mean? And then that's why I said, look at this. Watch this. And then when it showed that plane, it showed just little bits and pieces of everything strung everywhere on fire. I'm like, see, that's not what a plane crash. If it's a regular plane crash, it's not what it looks like. I've watched. I used to go on YouTube and I'd watch plane crashes after 9/11. And none of them looked like that I've ever seen. None of them. No mechanical failure looks like that.
Well, I think it was a real plane crash too, and I just wanted to let everyone that's watching know that wasn't our video. That was a video that Misha gave us a link, so we played it. I thought it was an interesting video. It pointed out a lot of stuff, but I still think it was a real plane crash. I know there's a lot of people in the chat that are having a discussion over this now, though, because some of them think it was and some of them think it wasn't. Nunyan wants to know what a missile strike looks like, Edward.
I'm sure 2 missile strikes, because that plane was hit with 2 missiles, would considerably damage that plane more than engine failures would. And the pieces that you would have left, I'd expect them to be smaller than whole wing sections and whole tail sections of the plane still being there.
Okay, do we want to lighten things up and get off the plane argument? Because I have something really fun saved.
I don't think it's really an argument. I just think it's people speculating.
Well, no, it's not an argument. It's just I can tell by
way.
watching the chat that like half the people think
half
that
the people agree with me and half the people don't.
Right.
Which is good.
Yeah, so they're having a good discussion in the chat.
I'm gonna get my shill check because I think
you're not
I'm
on the payroll.
Mainstream media this time. Oh, I'm not. Oh, I need to reevaluate my what I'm thinking then.
Fawn Spy, put Edward on the payroll.
Exactly, Fawn Spy. It looks exactly like what a plane shot down with that type of missile should look like. You're right. So he doesn't have a clue, just speculation. But you have a clue the other way? What is it? Tell me your evidence that wasn't a plane.
Fawn Spy says the 3rd of the month is when you get your check.
Oh, okay. I'll be hitting you up, Fawn Spy.
Yeah, Edward's going to need some cigarettes. The 3rd of the month already passed. He didn't get his check.
Oh,
or does she mean the 3rd week of the month?
She means the 3rd of next month because I just started with the plane, right? That was a couple days ago, so I wasn't hired until the plane.
How come I never get a check?
I don't know.
That's not fair. Anyways, does everybody remember a long time ago when we talked about Stephen Paddock's nephew, David the furry? Because I had made a
Exactly.
video a long time ago, and I was going to play it for you guys if you hadn't seen it.
Look at Fun Spy said, well, you wasn't hired yet. See, she thinks like me. I wasn't hired till that plane crashed. I'll be hitting you up on the 3rd, though. Yeah, I'd like to see. Yeah, let's see Furry David. Or whatever his name is.
Raggedy Man said the plane tripped and fell on the missile, kind of sounding story to me. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I can play the furry video. Stephen Paddock's brother Eric has a son named David that is a furry. And if you don't know what a furry is, they're people that like to dress up as furry animals. And it's actually a real thing, and it's a little bit creepy. But it's kind of funny to watch this video to show what they do. So anyways, hang on, and I'm going to play it for you. Hopefully it'll give everyone a good laugh.
I'm just glad you're not covering Luca Magnotta today.
No, I didn't have time to look it up last night. I was too tired. But I was watching the Cats thing, so I already know what she's talking about. Or he's talking about. He sent me the email of the thing that showed where that lady did say she was gonna put the thing on. All right, I'm getting ready to play this. Hang on.
One more. Good.
Yes, this is Stephen Paddock's nephew.
16. Oh, dude, you've only been working out for 36 minutes.
Okay, there are actually real people out there that go to conventions
What
dressed
is a
like
furry?
this.
Well, furries are fans of anthropomorphic characters. Those are animals with human characteristics. And like any fan group, they have conventions. The biggest one in the world is here in Pittsburgh. It's called Anthrocon. There are 6,000 furries inside. 6,000. In many ways, this convention is like any other. Vendors come from far and wide.
And we have our array of ears.
There are celebrity sightings and people
who speak your language.
I am Shinami. I am an Asian-style water dragon.
Anthrocon, like any convention, has hundreds of sessions and panels to attend. There's video gaming, puppetry, and a dance-off.
But there's something different about the furries, something we notice again and again.
Can you talk to us? You can't talk to us. You don't talk in costume.
These folks are committed to their characters, their fursonas. Really committed.
Would you like a hug, sir?
The hug is the furry handshake, and they never say no to a picture.
Can I get another pose? Yeah.
Some furries are from movies or TV.
And Robbie is your real name or your...
No, that's the character. This is Robbie Sinclair from Dinosaurs.
You were a big Star Wars fan, I'm assuming? And then you decided to go all in?
Sure.
Yeah.
But most furries are made up. Most of the tail-trailing, fur-suited folks we meet are dressed up as alternate versions of themselves, the character they'd want to be if they were an animal.
I think a lot of people do it as a way of breaking out of a shell.
This is Randy Fox. Yes, that's his real name. His fursona is Yappy Fox.
How is Yappy Fox different than Randy Fox?
Less shy, more outgoing. It's an artistic expression. It's a way to perform. Like, see, I'm not one that can get up on a stage.
This is Robert, also known as Hip Hop the Husky. He's 21 years old. Out of costume, he describes himself as shy.
I'm antisocial if I'm not wearing my suit.
So you created a whole fursona and a fursuit to make friends?
Yeah, about that.
I think it would be unfair to say this does not look strange to people.
John Cole is director of operations here.
It's not the social norm for people to want to put on a costume and cover their head. In the same way that it's not the social norm for people to paint one side of their face one color and the other color and start screaming about their favorite football team, outside of a football game.
Like any true fan, Cole has been to every single convention since 1999 and has watched the fandom grow, fueled by the internet, into a global community of thousands, with more than 20 conventions worldwide each year. Some furries just need a tail or a pair of ears to transform into their fursona. But others, full fursuiters as they're called, can spend upwards of several $1,000s on a costume that they might only wear a handful of times each year. At conventions like this, or for kids or charity events. So why go to all that trouble?
Everyone's inner child comes out. This is it's fun because you would not be able to go out in public and do whatever you want without the suit. You can't go, hi. You can't do that outside because people would be like, oh, that guy's crazy.
John Cole even has multiple fursonas. This is his favorite.
His name is KP.
Which stands for?
It stands for Cuddle Pup.
Right.
And he is the all-American kid. He's a puppy. He thinks about the world as a child does. It's a little more innocent.
But the furries' reputations aren't always so pure.
The adult thing has always been really popular in the fandom.
Jeff Eddy publishes furry literature of all types.
Some will call it a fetish, but it's really a different way of kind of looking at these same sort of romantic themes.
So it's just placing human characters in the same kind of adult novels.
Yep, exactly.
There's also this perception out there that a lot of this has a very kinky edge to it.
I'm sure it happens, and it not everybody. You could take any walk of life and you're going to find all extreme.
And those fursonas everyone's hiding behind, from the painstakingly detailed to the minimalist, they seem pretty complicated to put together.
I don't even know what that animal is. What is that?
I kind of made up the name because it's not a specific species. It's actually a hybrid. And so it's a deer, goat, dog hybrid. So I call it a droat.
You call it a droat?
A droat.
So what would my fursona be? I enlisted the help of furry fans Lunea and Buzzy. He's the penguin.
First thing you need to do is actually pick the animal that you would like to be.
Beagles, they're very social. They like to run around. And
What are really social?
Beagles.
Beagles. I like beagles. Let's see if we can find someone who can help me realize my vision. Would the short ears work? How is the penguin in the full suit moving faster than us, by the way? When you say real tails, what does that mean?
It means that they actually came from an actual animal.
Oh,
So it's
these are
fur.
real.
Yes.
Real tails.
Real fur.
Oh, okay.
This one's really cute.
Is this real or fake?
It's fake.
I like that one. I don't know about you guys.
That looks adorable.
This feels pretty weird. So it's not for me. Can I get a hug?
Of course.
But for these folks, young or old, orange or blue, fursuited or not, it seems to suit them just fine.
Okay, that's got to be the craziest thing ever. Can you guys hear me? Ouija, what's your video? M5, I'll put you on as soon as I play Ouija's interview. I'll give you a link to get on here. Let me see. I'm going to play this video of Ouija's. He says it's funny, but I have no idea what it is, so he could be setting us up. Okay, hang on. It's only 5 seconds long, so...
With flavor. It's the reason we pollinate our vanilla orchids
Nice
by hand
commercial.
on the day they bloom.
Hey, I just created a professional Wix site for my business. Let's check it out. Go to Wix.com. There are hundreds of beautiful.
Okay, I have to show you one more thing that I hate, but also kind of love. So this is thanks to Colton. Colton is one of the people, he's Employee of the Month here at Daily Wire, a prestigious title that comes along with a little note that goes in a frame. But Colton was walking around the office showing this to people, which begs the question as to what he's doing in his off hours. But apparently he saw this tape on YouTube and decided that I had to see it. Apparently there is something called ponying that happens. I guess this is in New Orleans, which apparently is a weird place. Let's just play it because there are very few words that can describe what's happening here.
We're out here having a pony play competition where people compete in events and classes just the same as real horses.
This is a pony fetish festival. These pony play hobbyists in New Orleans, Louisiana dress up and compete in show jumping events dressed from head to toe in horse gear. Okay, so
down over the jump. When ponies put on the gear, it puts them into what they call pony space. And I see a lot of people that once they put the gear on, that actually turn into horses.
When I put the bit in his mouth, it's like a ritual between us. He needs that transition to get into headspace. And I can feel through the bit when he actually kind of changes from like human space to like pony space. Now I'm going to leave him here for a minute for pony space before we take him out in for the reining competition. Because I found for us during play, if I just put him in the gear and then we go immediately do it, it doesn't give him time to transition into his headspace that allows him to express himself as a pony.
Okay, so just to be clear, folks, if you're not watching this, it's not just that they're dressed up in like full-on horse suits. They're not. They're dressed up in basically the gimp suits from Pulp Fiction, dressed as ponies in gimp suits, walking around, competing, kicking carts. Yeah. So here's the thing. Who are we to judge? Can we judge? And who are we to say that these people are not actual ponies? That's the real question. They've entered the pony space. They are now ponies. So, here's the real question. If they say they are a pony, who are you to say they are not a pony? Who are you? Who are you to define them? What makes you so cishuman? What makes you, why can't they go by their preferred pronouns, right? They can be they. Who knows? Any pronoun they choose. Why not? How dare you, sir? How dare you, madam? How dare she? These are legitimate ponies. These are just as real as the ponies that you would see at a ranch somewhere. Okay, and if they choose to run out there with the ponies, and if they choose to poop in the fields, and if they choose to use bit and bridle, well, then that is their problem. And you sitting there laughing at them, judging at them, they don't need your scorn. They don't need your scorn. Your bullying is what is causing them their suffering. It is you. Do you understand? It is your fault. It's society's intolerance that creates these sorts of situations where beautiful, stunning, poetic horses like this have to be, they have to be let free only far from the city. Why can't they live among us? Why can't we have beautiful, pristine animals, creatures of God like this among us in the city? Why not? I mean, horses are all part of our lives. Why? Okay, so, I think that it's, I would also say that there is a sad side to pony space. So the sad side to pony space is that when they break their legs, you have to shoot them. And that's the real sad side here, because, if they were human and they broke their leg, you would just take them to the hospital. But if they're in the pony space, when they break their legs, they cannot be healed. They're now ponies. And you actually have to put them down for their own sake, because the legs are not going to heal. I mean, I suppose you could try to do like they did with that racehorse a few years ago and like suspend them in a pool for a month or something. But are they really worth the trouble? Most horses are not running at the Kentucky Derby. So I don't know, but it's very, it's disturbing that we would be so intolerant, that we wouldn't take them seriously, that we would not take their hobbies seriously. They say they have to be vanilla, upright citizens Monday through Friday. So to get out and pretend to be something else is so much fun, but they're not pretending. Even this woman doesn't understand the reality of the pony space. Understand the reality of the pony space, respect the pony space. And if you see one of these ponies on the street, out of the goodness of your heart, give them a carrot and a lump of sugar.
Don't like it when your man...
Well, that was quite interesting. I don't even know what to say after seeing the pony thing. Edward, are you still there, or did we lose you? There you are, Edward. We lost you a minute.
Yeah, I'm back now. All right, I dropped a link in the private. I dropped a link that Lou texted me earlier. I want everyone to see.
Different than that link was?
Yes, very much different than that link was.
What's it about?
This is I forget, but I think his name is Balavia. He's a United States soldier. I think he was just given an honor, presidential medal of honor, Medal of Freedom, something like that.
Oh, Lou sent that today to me too. Yeah, that was a good one. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, that needs to be played. That 2-minute video of his speech. He is awesome, Staff Sergeant. Yes.
The last link that you just put there. Yeah, this speech was great this morning. It's kind of strange though to jump back to this after the pony thing. The pony thing kind of really threw me for a loop.
Oh, well, we'll get back to, I got a serious topic after this too, and then we can get back to joking and get Maroon 5 or whatever in here.
He's charging his phone.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to screen share this speech. This is a really, really good speech.
It really was.
Staff Sergeant David G. Bellavia.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters. We fight. We fight so our children never have to. We fight for one day when our children and our enemies' children can discuss their differences without fear or loathing. We fight so that anyone out there thinking about raising arms against our citizens or allies realize the futility of attrition against a disciplined, professional, and lethal force built to withstand anything you can dream of throwing at us. Americans want this kind of country. Americans want this kind of world. And we stand ready to defend it, to protect us. So help us God. May God bless this beautiful army. May God bless our Marine Corps, our Navy, our Air Force, and Coast Guard. May God bless our allies. And we already know that God blessed America. Thank you very much.
That was a really good speech.
That really was. And it was 20 minutes long. That's just the part that Lou texted me earlier. I didn't find the whole video. I haven't even listened to the whole speech yet, but I want to. I want to vote for that guy. He needs to run for office. You're damn right, man. They'll fuck with him. So, who remembers back in 2014, I want to say, when Sheldon Adelson said that if Iran wants to be a nuclear nation, we ought to just go over there and drop a bomb and wipe out part of Iran, right?
I don't remember that, but I probably heard it. I did a lot of research on him.
Or he said that in 2013, possibly. So in 2014, Sheldon Adelson's computer system was wiped out. The Sands Casino's computer system was wiped out by Iran.
Cybersecurity attack. That's their specialty.
Yes.
They're probably running those right now and we don't even notice.
I think, yeah, we're going to get hit with a few cybersecurity attacks.
Well, there's already
Stealing
been
and
people
destroying
reporting
data,
them.
ultimately cost the Sands Casino over $40 million.
Sounds like a good payback. Yeah, I've already been seeing on the news cyber attack things. So things are happening, but there's no way they're going to be able to prove who's doing them. But like right now, it's not a good time to be clicking on things that you don't know what they are. Be careful with like your bank passwords and stuff. Ouija, who was fined $50 million by the feds? Yeah, and Phoebe says the Texas governor said they were experiencing them. Edward, explain what a cyber attack is for the roofer.
Okay. It's a malware. Let me find a good way to explain that.
It's basically when you hack into something and mess it up.
Right. It targets companies,
Ouija.
it disrupts, it destroys, it or controls the computing of a company, like a company's computer system or a person's or whatever.
M5 wants to come on. He is under a different handle though. M5, I am going to drop this link in the chat, and as soon as you click on it, I'm going to get rid of it. So go ahead and click on that, and that'll bring you into the basement. I don't don't know if everybody knows who M5 is. He's been following the Vegas shooting stuff with us, but he's also into some other things. I'm not sure what he's going to talk about when he gets on. Okay, M5, click on that link that I put in there, and that should bring you into the basement. I don't see you in the basement yet. Okay. There you go. You're on. Say something so we can see if we can hear your voice.
Truth seeker, you're an ignorant fucking bitch.
Is that Eddie?
Yes, you dumb bitch.
Well, that went well. Eddie, you are the biggest asshole in the whole Las Vegas community because you do nothing but cause trouble with people. So you made a sock account of M5. That's real nice. That shows your maturity. So, did everyone have fun listening to Eddie? Well, now M5, I'm not going to know if that's you or not, or if that's another sock account of Eddie's. Let's see if Eddie wants to show his maturity again.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, Eddie came in and pretending to be you. Did you catch that?
No, I'm on a phone, so I couldn't watch while trying to join. Was that just in the last minute or two?
Yeah, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk. I'm going to go find him in the chat and get rid of him.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I switched accounts. I just was charging my phone and went to a backup. Yeah, lots of interesting things since I've been on a live. I think it's been maybe 6 months or more.
Wait, so that is you right there? That moto is you?
No, that was Eddie.
No,
that
was me probably.
So Eddie just changed his name to you to trick us?
Eddie. No, Eddie didn't do that. Eddie just clicked the link you dumped in the chat room. He didn't even say anything in the chat.
Well, yeah, but when I let him out of the basement, it was the moto.
Okay, well, he just typed that in then.
So Moto,
Maroon 5's on the panel confirming Moto is him.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
well,
that's me.
I
Same
just
voice.
blocked you in the chat, so how do I unblock you?
It doesn't. If it was me, it
Click-
doesn't matter. If it was Eddie, it
It don't matter.
Okay, I unhid you. So Eddie never really made a sock account of you. He just came in.
No,
and-
he just typed his screen username in the StreamYard.
Yeah, I'm doing this for my phone, so I'm kind of
Yeah, Pats, I agree. What a fucking loser Eddie is. Okay, M5, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I heard you guys mentioning the Sands. I wasn't aware of that cyber attack, but it's interesting. Give some context to the whole, Vegas thing, somewhat with regards to its connections to like the Middle East, which is multi-dimensional. Really, it's obviously there's the tourism angle, there's the back end business angle. The cyber angle is interesting. With regards to like what defines a cyber attack, I mean, much of cyber is just intelligence, so like spying, and then part of cyber will be actually like changing things. Whether it's in the physical world, like some sorry, a second. I just had Google pop up. If I have any issues with my mic, let me know because I'm using a really cheap microphone.
You sound fine.
No, you're fine.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So
Hey,
yeah,
True Seeker, you might want to screen share that link real quick while Maroon 5's talking. I think Ouija pulled up a link about the Sands cyber attack.
I'm not going to do any more screen sharing right now. It's wearing me out.
I'm interested in whatever you guys want to talk about because I don't think I've ever been on a call with you, Truth Seeker, and
Oh, you can talk about whatever topic you want. We've been
Yeah,
jumping
whatever you
around
want,
tonight.
really.
I just need a break from the screen sharing. I'd rather just sit here and talk for a little bit.
yeah. Well, it seems like the Vegas thing is finally starting to
Starting to fizzle out
diminish in-
finally.
diminish in importance, perhaps, because of all the recent happenings in the news and such. I mean, not that it's diminished at all in importance. That's not what I'm trying to say. Just that there are many newer things to be focused on. And you know how they
Yes.
may or may not connect to Vegas is interesting. Like, let's look at some of the headlines and big stories the past year or two. Let's say since Vegas, there was the Me Too Weinstein movement, which I believe their key article was released days after the Vegas attack, like within a week. Big distraction there, perhaps on purpose. Epstein might have had connections to the Las Vegas attack, as well as Khashoggi. I mean, Epstein and Khashoggi might have known each other, considering they were both involved in Iran-Contra. The blackmail networks of Iran-Contra seem to have never gone away and just got absorbed into the Democratic Party, especially through the Clinton era. And if you know anything about Iran-Contra and the Clintons, I mean, they were very much connected. Clinton, Bill in Arkansas was running an operation, or at least helping the Bush administration and the Reagan administration run operations, you know, with regards to Iran-Contra. And yeah, I mean, this stuff never really goes away as long as the networks are intact. The blackmail networks, you know, it just kind of becomes institutionalized. And then over the course of decades, these things become more and more powerful. And then you have the Democratic Party as it is today. And what I find really interesting is the flip-flop that's happened the past few months, especially since the impeachment thing started to broil up. Before that, actually, if you look at around the time Bolton left, and before that, there was a bunch of attacks or weird things happening in the Persian Gulf area. And it seems like Bolton had a disagreement with Trump, or Trump wasn't listening to his advice at that time. Bolton left. Around that time, the impeachment thing kind of started, and Democrats became more hawkish on Iran, even though you won't notice that from all the media coverage the past few days. I believe in secret they've been pushing for a conflict because they know that if Trump becomes a full wartime president, he might actually lose re-election. Even though normally wartime presidents do well, everything's backwards right now. That's kind of the theme, in my opinion, is like everything's backwards. Like what the official statements are, sometimes the opposites, like the truth, and then just everything the way it should be is just kind of inverted. So yeah, you've got the Democrats who are literally helping Iran now, trying to create a war because that actually helps strengthen the regime in Iran. And then you have the Republicans, I'm not sure about neocons exactly, but they want Trump to stay in office and get reelected. So they're actually promoting de-escalation and trying to keep, you know, they might want to invade later or do an air campaign, but after 2020 election. And Netanyahu in Israel got indicted shortly after Bolton resigned. It seems like Trump refused to strike, and then Netanyahu refused to strike alone. He, you know, because the whole Israeli strategy with regards to Iran is to get the U.S. to be there, because if not, it would not be an easy fight, unfortunately, for, you know, everyone involved. So yeah, that's kind of my quick rundown of the threads regarding Vegas connecting to what's going on lately. And you may or may not remember when I was on that call with, let's see, it was KL, Nini, and Truth Bomb. And I was actually trying to explain the connection between Vegas and Iran-Contra.
Yeah, can you go a little more into that?
I mean, I don't have all the details. I mean, I've heard Vegas was kind of connected to the Fast and Furious thing. You know, the
guns.
Yeah, that whole thing. I've heard that from compelling sources. And I've also heard the Iran-Contra thing from compelling sources. And truth be told, the way the Democratic Party seems to have been surprisingly involved in Iran-Contra, considering that it was Republicans in the presidency at that time. It seems like they kind of absorbed it, or I don't know how that all went down, because they were all Republicans in the Reagan era, obviously, like Oliver North. It was interesting. Ollie North was put in charge of the NRA. What the hell's up with that? Seriously, I mean, he's not there now, but what the hell is up with that? You know, I mean, come on.
Do you live in Vegas?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you lived there or not.
No, I mean, I used to work there, but hey, what happened to 5x5? That guy used to always taunt me, and I mean, not taunt me, but he would always ask me like, "Oh, I need to vet you. I need to vet you," and I'm thinking to myself,
He's gone dark. He's on a mission, but yeah, he's sometimes full of shit.
Yeah. No, I don't miss.
He used to just try to intimidate you.
I don't wish him any ill will, but he's such a bullshitter. Gosh.
He is very much so. Eddie's his best friend, can't you tell?
I don't follow the drama between all this stuff. It's
yeah, they're all
especially once
full of it.
the clown accounts got involved. I really just felt that was
Yeah, they're all clown fans. I ignore them as much as possible, but they seem to jump into the streams.
Yeah, it's almost like they feed off the negativity.
Yeah.
Literally and
well, it's because they believe the narrative, so there's nothing for them
I-
to investigate, so they just like to cause trouble.
Sorry to get excited and interrupt there, but I don't know how much I believe that these narrative defenders and narrative huggers actually believe the narrative.
Oh, I don't think they believe it at all. I think they just want to go against us.
Yeah.
They thrive off causing drama, and I don't believe that any of them. Maybe Alan Dion and Fox Charlie believe the narrative, but I don't think any of the rest of them believe it at all.
Yeah, there are a few that seem to be in better faith. Yeah. Yeah, I've kind of been just, not purposely. I've just been kind of busy, but I haven't been following everything with regards to Vegas. There were a couple interesting threads that never really got picked up on, like what was it? Paddock had that email address about the kids cartoon. Do you remember that?
Powder Puff Girls.
Yeah, Powerpuff, yeah. And
yeah.
That he also the only photo of him and his brother had them watching that or something in the background.
Yeah, you could see it reflected off the TV screen, I think, in the window behind them.
Yeah, and that seems really dumb and random, but it is a little strange for sure. For he would have been like in his 40s when that cartoon came out.
Well, the way I looked at that though is if the picture got taken at somebody's house, Eric Paddock did have a daughter that would have been little at that time. So perhaps she was, I'm just saying, maybe she was watching TV and it just happened to show up, when grandma or whoever went and snapped the picture of the brothers. Because they're, she's the only daughter, the rest are boys. So she could have just been watching it on TV. But it is weird that why would he have that email?
Yeah, the email address.
It's a strange email for a guy to have.
Absolutely.
But then again, we just saw the video of his nephew, so they're a strange bunch of people.
Not to mention the Paradise Ranch mentions. That's like a nickname for Area 51.
Yeah, a bunch of people looked into all of his Paradise Ranch LLCs. There was a bunch of them, and I don't know whatever turned up about that. I didn't really look into them.
For Lockheed Martin, it was like, I think more than Viacom before. It's Lockheed's huge. I mean, they're so huge that this recent thing going on, that first American contractor that was killed a few weeks ago in Iraqi Kurdistan. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like before the embassy thing, and that guy was a Lockheed Martin employee. He was an Iraqi citizen who just got U.S. citizenship like a year and a half ago. He worked in counterintelligence, which means he was like a spy or spy hunter or something. And I mean, he's. I feel bad for the guy, but obviously the military industrial complex and Lockheed specifically is incredibly powerful. They're probably the most notorious of all the defense contractors.
I need to go back and answer a question for Phoebe because I think she was confused. There was a photograph of Stephen Paddock and his brother Eric, and in the background of the photo was a window where you could see a TV show of the Powder Puff Girls on. And they were saying how strange that was there. And I was just saying that maybe Stephen's daughter was watching it on TV and the grandma took a picture. I have no idea why it's on the window behind them, the reflection, but I just wanted to explain that to Phoebe so she wasn't confused. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I mean, I was going to try and connect the cartoon thing to the whole furry thing because it is related.
Okay.
If you're aware.
Hey, go ahead.
The creator of that Powerpuff Girls, both the animator and story writer, all that stuff, like the showrunner and the main voice actress, were the ones who did the My Little Pony cartoon, the one that became a huge internet meme, with all the conventions and all the.
Yeah, I remember the My Little Pony stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's huge, and globally it's even bigger. Believe it or not, it's like a worldwide thing. Although it's mostly the furries are mostly in the US and Europe, but the My Little Pony thing is literally global. Like South America, Asia, Russia. It's huge in Russia, like really big. Surprisingly.
This is just too weird of stuff. I'm sorry.
And
the Disney things are weird too.
Yeah, the Disney one's interesting. So I was saying in chat, the whole furry thing kind of comes from Disney. I mean, you could say it comes from paganism, like the old religions, like the Native Americans or the Europeans or the Middle Easterners. They all had animal religions, sort of, like paganism. But really, the modern version of furries kind of comes from cartoon, humanized animals in cartoons, which really I think is mostly Disney started that, and then it became a type of pornography out of Mexico in the 60s and 70s. There were these, I don't know, porn magazines or something that would basically created the cartoon porn genre, which existed in a small way before the internet. And then with the internet, of course, it just blew up.
Yeah,
and it's a really slippery slope because, think of it, if you're, it's like anime is another big one, the Japanese cartoons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge problem for any parent who has kids that, they're wondering, like, what will they get exposed to? I mean, there is wholesome anime, of course, but it's just, well, first of all, Japan's kind of weird, like they have good and bad, like just like anything, there's good and bad. But the subculture of all these subcultures that the internet enables are interesting to say the least. I don't know if they're just trying to, sell stuff, like if it's about, because this furry whole fandom, whatever they call it, is very profitable. The artists that become popular.
Well, those outfits have to cost a fortune.
The fursuits cost thousands of dollars. Thousands. And the people who make artwork get really popular. And a lot of these furries are trust fund kids, honestly. I mean, I'm not trying to disparage the rich, but literally it's pathologically damaged people finding an outlet for their, soul crushing pain and suffering from whatever happened to them in their younger years. I mean, almost every, I don't know if you've ever had the pleasure of talking with these people or getting to know one of them, but
I never have.
Almost every one of them was sexually abused as a child. There's no, it's one of those things. If you know gay people, they'll kind of, if you get close enough to a gay person, they might tell you, oh yeah, whatever. And I'm not saying that's true for everyone, but it is a somewhat common thing, if you talk to people honestly about it, who are from that community, they'll be like, yeah, it's a problem. Or a good example would be that Milo Yiannopoulos guy. As much as I don't like that guy, he got totally blacklisted from the media because he was talking about how he had a sexual relationship with his priest when he was a teenager, and he was trying to defend it. And anyway, unfortunately, that's kind of what
Milo was.
That's what happens with a lot of these victims of pedophilia. They sympathize with the abuser, and they basically become indoctrinated or willing to do anything for the person that abused them to protect them.
That's sad.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah,
sad.
I think you kind of see that ideology a little bit with the whole Vegas narrative. The people that are so passionate about hugging the, it's just part of their identity, I guess. I don't know how it all works out, but, and then there's all the weird occult shit around Vegas, and I mean, that kind of relates to Disney and the furries and all that stuff too. It has a weird occult purpose, whether you just want to call it Satanism or, mystery religions, like what the Egyptians were into. I mean, the Egyptians literally built a civilization around the gods they worshipped were furries. You know that, right? Basically, I mean, in terms of being a human-animal hybrid, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the Rosicrucians, which were like a predecessor of the British Freemason order. Sir Francis Bacon, the guy who might have been Shakespeare. I think he would there's potential that he was the actual writer of most of Shakespeare's work. He wrote a book called The New Atlantis, which is very, very interesting. It kind of gives a model for the future world. This was back in the 1500s, I think, or 1400s. It was about you know, it was like describing what they believed was attributed to the lost civilization of Atlantis, but you know, in the future. So it was about like they were describing genetic engineering, and they even described, listen to this, human animal hybrids for entertainment and sexual pleasure.
Huh.
Literally
Wow,
what
imagine that.
furries are trying to emulate. Yeah. So, I mean, you could also go to the whole Baphomet thing. I don't know how much you guys know about Satanism and Luciferianism, but the whole Baphomet thing
No.
is like a human goat hybrid. The one, you know, that the Satan.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's
Baphomet.
also transsexual too. It's multiple gendered. The Baphomet, it's like both male and female. So that's part of the religion too.
I didn't know that about it.
Yeah, it all connects to like Gnosticism, I think, which is basically the belief. It's like a man trying to become God kind of thing, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like they believe the two genders in one body is like, I don't know, it's a corruption of the natural, because obviously that creates life. Like in a normal situation, a man and woman come together and create life, something that, you know, fertility, but like the transgender thing is like the opposite. It's like sterilization. Two
Right.
people coming together in like one body. It's like totally there's like a religious and occult symbolism regarding all that. Oh, it's also about Vegas. I found out recently that the Muslims in the Philippines are funded by like the Iranians and Shia and all that.
Right. Yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't know that. I always thought they would be Sunni Saudi connected, but apparently not.
Mm-mm. Oh, there she is.
And you got to wonder, why was everyone screaming Saudi, Saudi, Saudi when the Vegas attack happened? And you got like Jason Goodman, Jake Morphonios, all these paid shills. I mean, serious heavyweight paid shills, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And they're, I mean, I don't even want to mention the helicopter guy because, you know, he's just, yeah. I mean, I just was going to say, I don't want to mention him because he looks kind of creepy, but hey, man.
I think he looks hot. Everyone thinks he looks creepy. Once he started showing his face, he's nothing like what I imagined him looking
I
like.
know, no. I'm actually, yeah, no, he looks like better than I thought too.
Yeah, I
But-
thought he was going to be like a small, little, skinny Weasley guy, and it's like he doesn't look anything like that at all. I don't think he looks bad.
Yeah, well, Mossad, you know, they know how to do their thing.
Oh, you
kidding.
think he's Mossad? No.
I'm kidding. Well, you know, they have a phenotype. I mean, they'll try to like send someone out who looks not like stereotypically, you know, Israeli or
Well,
anything.
I've been saying Mossad might be involved in the Vegas shooting, so.
Well, that's just very obvious too, though. It's like so on the nose. Well, I mean, you know, how could they not be involved considering it's Vegas?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not obvious to most people, though. I mean,
Yeah, of course. You have to kind of be in the know or in the industry.
Okay, guys, I'm going to add another guest on. It's someone that I recently subscribed to. His name's Bamboo, but since Eddie snuck in using someone else's name a minute ago, just be prepared that this might be Eddie again.
well, you should be prepared to click them out again. Then.
Hi, Bamboo. How are you?
Hey, what's up? Is this Truth Seeker?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just didn't know that, you know, some people that I get to know through these streams and stuff on YouTube in the chat, I just don't know if they're a boy or girl or, you know, so.
Oh, I'm a girl.
Okay.
Yeah. I probably met you on a Wake Ups chat, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Did you
Maybe
go in
that.
there?
Yeah, I haven't been in there in a while, but there's a lot of chats that I've been in. I think I've seen you in, you know. But, you know, it all gets blurred in together at some point, you know, so.
I know. I always forget who everyone is. So the other people on the panel are Edward and M5. Usually we cover Vegas stuff, but tonight we're just
Okay.
covering random topics. So just jump in if you want.
Right
to.
on. This is like the first time I've caught your stream. Like I saw you were live, so I was like, "Hey, I'll check it out." You have a nice crowd in here, and nice to meet you guys on the panel and everybody in chat. Bless up. Hope you guys are having a nice night.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So I'm into all sorts of things, but just carry on, and I'll chime in if I feel like I have anything to add.
What do you usually cover on your channel? Because I've subscribed to a lot of new people lately, and I can't remember what you cover.
Well, I'd like to cast a wide net, but so I'm interested in so many things, and I try to represent that here and there. But lately, mostly just like simple history stuff and sky watching stuff and things like that. But
We've got a girl, Angelica, that does a lot on the sky stuff, the chemtrails and stuff.
Yeah, it's all right, but you know, all sorts of things. Some sports stuff, some music stuff. I'm into a lot of cryptid type stuff. If you're talking about Bigfoot or things like that, UFO type stuff here and there. Not as much as other stuff like history, but I'm really interested in so many things, and I just like your name says, Truth Seeker. I just want to find the truth about everything.
I know we
About
kind
freaking
of usually
everything.
just like to jump from different topics and stuff
Yeah.
because that's the thing. You get a variety of people in the chat, and they all like to talk about different things.
That's really cool, and I think the more you look into everything, you realize that it's connected at some point. It's all connected.
Well, that's what M5 was kind of covering right before you came on. He like has all these different things that he thinks all connect.
Cool. Well,
Go ahead and keep going M5, and maybe Bamboo can catch up with you because you were
Yeah,
just
yeah.
talking a minute ago about all those other things that you thought
Yes.
were random but connected.
Oh, well, I mean, we were kind of talking about Vegas, and you're covering some funny things that don't seem related to Vegas at all, but it really might not be that related. It's just kind of like weird details that pop up. And well, when it comes to like the symbolic stuff, you know, like it kind of all connects to religion and world religions, and that usually they're all kind of copying each other.
Yeah.
Or they're based on like just human stuff, you know, so it's universal. I think maybe that's where some of the common themes come from. Like I was just talking about like Gnosticism, I think, and it's like you know, all they call them mystery schools or secret societies,
Right. Yep.
which you know they consider themselves to be carrying the legacy of like the Egyptians, and the
Yeah.
Greeks had their own and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy though. I love history, but I'm learning more and more recently about how, I mean, I've known this for a long time, how the timelines were mostly taught in school and the mainstream perspective on what we're told about what happened when, you know, if you're talking about Egyptians or Christopher Columbus or the Greeks or Jesus, whatever, stuff was happening way before that. And there was a cataclysmic event, somewhat probably around like 11,000 years ago, give or take. There's a lot of evidence pointing to this. But overall, it just shows you that even before these ancient civilizations that we're all taught about, there was ancient civilizations before them, you know, that were way advanced.
Oh yeah, I was just mentioning the Atlantis, and that's
Yeah,
kind of what you
Atlantis.
I don't know how old it is exactly, but I've heard 10,000 years before.
Yeah.
for that.
Well, Plato is one
Yeah.
of the most recognizable sources of what his account was, of what he talked about, because what he was told and what he learned, he wrote about, which was there was a big cataclysmic event. It could be the flood that you read in the Bible. It happened multiple times, you know.
Yep. Yep.
It wasn't just one, and there was different versions of it, but it did happen. But the ones that I think Plato was talking about was like 10,000 years ago, 11,000 years ago from our date around now, like somewhere between 10 and 12,000 years ago, there was a big, huge cataclysmic event, and there were highly advanced societies, and before even the Egyptians, before even the Greeks, thousands of years before them.
So what I
And-
didn't know about Plato was that he's kind of the cornerstone for the Western versions of the mystery schools, like the secret
Yeah.
societies.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't
like
know
you
that.
know, yeah, like well, Pythagoras was one of them, and then Plato, and
Okay.
yeah, he called it, like the Academy. I think he wrote a
Hmm.
book called the Academy, or just he had like
Okay.
a. I'm not an expert on the class.
Neither am I. I'm still just getting my grasps
Yeah.
of teaching and understanding of like guys like Plato and what he was talking about, and I'm just trying to recently just started getting into like when man did start, you know, like when, because there's so much evidence all around the world of megalithic
Yeah.
sites that just predate anything we really know about, and we just don't know. But there's a lot of evidence saying that it's a much older. We were around a lot longer, and we might not have been the same people. Where did we come from? That's included into the question. Did we evolve from the ape, or was it a hybrid, or what did happen? Because
Yeah,
There's
that's
so much.
actually that's something
Yeah.
I'd like to chime in on too, because I have a bit of a background in biology, and there's always this
Okay.
conception, from non-scientists and from scientists alike, that science is like monolithic, it never changes, and there's always agreement, and there's never suppression of dissent, and that's totally the opposite of the truth. I mean,
Hmm.
science constantly goes through revolutions, and
It
it's kind of
does.
painful because there's always an entrenched ideology.
Yes.
For example, there's certain medical type topics or sociological topics that are never studied in humans because it's too controversial,
Yeah,
or just because
yeah.
they're too like animalistic. Like for
Yeah,
instance,
yeah.
pheromones. For the longest time, all these biologists were studying animals, and then it was only in like the 90s or something, like scientists were like, oh yeah, humans can like detect whether they're a better match with somebody
Yeah, yeah.
from their smell of their their body odor
Exactly.
and pheromone stuff. So yeah, there's just like all these biases, and that kind of relates to human genetics and the origin of humanity, as we know.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's all part of this agenda. Their perspective, the mainstream. You can call it agenda. You can call it what's the other word? It's slipping my mind. It's been a long day, but they're basically just telling one side of the story, and they're sticking to it.
Indoctrination, I guess, right?
And when you talk about what you were just talking about, it's all connected to how they don't look into things like psychedelics and how all of the plants are our medicine, and how we get true medicine from what we eat, what we drink, and just plants, herbs, roots, things like that, all the way down to how they're basically just gatekeeping the truth, and they're not letting us get into all of the truth. I mean, the people that are researching civilizations that go against the timelines of the mainstream agenda, they just don't get talked about too much. They get kind of blackballed. I mean, you risk your career if you go against the grain.
You mentioned
know?
you mentioned the psychedelics and the gatekeeping. I think of
Yeah.
Timothy Leary, Terrence McKenna,
Graham Hancock.
Yeah. I don't know too much about the alien disclosure people. My mom's always talking about Graham Hancock and
Oh, yeah, he
IIT.
does.
I try and tell her, like, look, these guys are literally, called out for specific things, and
Yeah.
well, unfortunately, the whole conspiracy community is very heavily influenced by interested parties. I'll just leave it at that. And
Yeah,
sometimes
definitely.
sometimes it's a financial motive, but usually the product isn't necessarily like a T-shirt or a subscription service. The product is actually you and your worldview.
Yes, exactly. And it's a gradual thing. It's this big agenda. There's only so many people in that club. I mean, it's but it's a drawn out thing. It's something they want to be able to control you your whole life with, and then take away your true perception of what this life is. And that's part of it. I mean, that's the spiritualism they take away. That's the connection to the earth they take away. I mean, I can, it's just like, to me, like I talk about these things and I can look at it from every different angle because I see like it's like somehow all connected. I mean, the fact that like we're dying off a big pharma, because they're giving us man-made chemicals and it's killing us, or the food that we eat.
A lot of medications, come from natural things too. I mean, not all, but the first medications were all like from plants or like then fungus, and like eventually then oil. Actually, when they discovered oil, petrochemical industry is basically what created the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
And it's called value added petrochemical.
Yeah, and they taking that away from us, like our true connection. And it's funny.
When you become aware of it, you can make better decisions for yourself.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not always you have to try to not get too like upset or not let it affect you too much.
Yeah, try not to. And some people, I get it, are in better places to be able to live a more sustainable life, grow their own food and all that stuff. But other people, not so much. They have that mentality that they know what's going on in this world, and pretty much everything they tell us are lies, and
a lot of lies.
And it goes down to the root of like what you eat every day. The water you drink. Some people are in better situations to get away from that and be more self-sustaining and pure. But in other, like me, I don't live in like a country setting. I live more in the city, so it's like I don't even have much sun in my backyard to grow anything. Other people
outside of this, yeah, they have a little patch and they can sustain themselves a little bit better. But it's funny you talk about big oil, and it's like the first electric cars. We were making electric cars. I mean, granted, there were no Teslas, but in like the late 1880s and early 1890s, we were working on electric cars. I forgot the guy's first name, but the man who created the diesel engine, he was displaying his engine that could run on peanut oil in like the late 1890s at like the World's Fairs, and yet over a few years, like the big oil just like squashed that. They took over that.
I'd be interested to hear what's your opinion on Joe Rogan, because earlier you mentioned like psychedelic movement and gatekeepers, and he's kind of like the new. It's like the new,
he's really popular.
He seems like Johnny Carson level of popular. Like he's literally the #1 most influential interview in the world right now.
He is. He is. It's like he's popular for a lot of reasons. He talks about a lot of crazy topics, but
and he's almost like a bit of Tim Leary or Terrence McKenna, right? Because he talks about DMT and all that stuff.
Maybe. Yeah. He might not have the full experience of all of it as like a Terrence McKenna or but I will say this, like when we're talking about what's going on today, why we're in the Middle East and all that stuff, he won't call out who is controlling us. And that's one thing.
Well, I don't know what, I saw a picture of him from like a year ago with that group of people calling themselves the intellectual dark web. They're all kind of like money-making book writing types, like Jordan Peterson and Rubin and I think Ben Shapiro and all those people. And it's entertaining. But of course they're not gonna draw attention to things that they just don't want to.
I mean, maybe excuse me, maybe deep down he knows what's going on.
Jordan Peterson's a really interesting guy. I don't know what your views are on him, and
I don't know.
I kind of have mixed. I've
heard of him.
Oh, you don't know too much about him? Okay,
no,
so he's a psychology professor who, it's funny. It's just like 6-7 years ago, he and his daughter went on Canadian national TV, like their PBS, and like did this very emotional, embarrassing segment all about how much antidepressant pharmaceuticals had helped them and saved their lives.
Oh my
they're total shills for. I mean,
that's
really embarrassing, really sad.
Excuse my language, sorry.
And then since then, the daughter got off all her medications, and she had like some crazy autoimmune thing where she had like hip replacements. She had like arthritis that was really bad as a child, and so they basically totally changed their tune. Like he became a motivational type speaker, but not exactly a motivational speaker, more like I don't know, psychology philosopher. But really, if you look into the deeper aspects of what he's preaching, so to speak, even though he's not religious, it's similar to theosophy, which if you're interested in all this like esoteric stuff and how it connects, you should definitely look into theosophy. It was big about 100 years ago.
Okay.
I'm not like, I can't give you a perfect encapsulation of the history, but it's been used by, both the more communist side of things and also like in Nazi Germany. They all kind of like based things off Madame Blavatsky, and she was herself maybe kind of a con artist. But she had this concept of the world teacher, and like this idea that there would be a person that would be like the world teacher. So I guess there'd be like a Gandhi, prophet, Mandela, but like for the whole world type thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Jordan Peterson fits that role, but he was kind of trying to for a while. Like,
I should look into him. Is he does he have a channel on YouTube still, or
I don't know what he was making like $70K a month on Patreon or something. It's crazy. Like broke all the records.
Is he older guy or middle age?
Yeah, he's an older guy. He has a voice like Kermit the Frog.
Kermit. Oh.
Yeah, and he's kind of a paid show. Like he's not, he's one of those people that will never really name the.
Yeah.
I know
what you mean. He'll kind of stay neutral, but give you the truth, but kind of just won't pick a side in a way.
There's no reason to listen to him for foreign policy. I mean, he's basically the guy he's like a motivational speaker for the younger crowd, I guess, which is kind of strange.
Okay. There's only so many who are willing to talk about the truth about the foreign policy right now.
Oh, absolutely.
From what I understand, and I don't know. It's time. I think it's time. We're jeopardizing.
Policy and domestic policy are completely linked because the concept of economics, you have what's called an opportunity cost. So if you make a decision to buy something, you don't have that that money in your wallet anymore to buy something else. And
look at like
and
the-
money too. Like, I mean, not just money, time and like life itself, right? So all of this time and energy go, you know, for all these people going into like global empire and stuff.
Yeah, it's a money business, man. I mean, it's like you look at, we're just ruled by corporations, and especially the ones in the MSC who are
online
affiliated with all them, and they got jobs for a lot of Americans, and so when war's happening, man, people are working, making money. They're making a lot of money, and it goes on and on and on. Big Pharma too is in that too. I mean, we've been in Afghanistan for how many years? Almost 20 years. It's a poppy. That's where we're getting our drugs from, is Afghanistan.
Not a lot of people know
shite
that
loads.
Healthcare is 20% of the U.S. economy. That's bigger than energy. That's bigger than the military.
Man, that's a joke.
They're making a lot of money off medical.
Oh, yeah.
They owe us that healthcare for free, man. They've been stealing our money for so long for every little thing.
And the way the system's set up, both before Obamacare and after, it really burdens the employers. So, you know, if you're,
it does.
It makes it really hard for companies, especially the smaller companies. You know,
I know.
I
saw a lot of that because, you know, around where I live in the Bay Area. But I used to work in the restaurants as a chef, and some of us were struggling really bad. A lot of restaurants were just struggling because they had to also make do for some of those healthcare add-ons here and there.
Oh yeah, yeah. They had that city healthcare tax too, right?
And then it's the same thing with the minimum wage. I've seen a lot of good things on the minimum wage of how it's just kind of in a way, it's not really what it is because it kind of hurts the ordinary people.
Yeah,
just as bad.
Well, right now the whole thing is inflation. So, you know, I mean, I'm all for raising the minimum wage, but there's already a big problem with inflation because of just look at like you know, the U.S. Debt, right? It's gone.
Oh my God, the small. I was gonna say the small businesses, they hurt just as bad with the minimum wage hikes. Probably more than the Obama thing because.
Yeah, the healthcare thing really hurt a lot of small businesses. You know,
a small business just they can't pay somebody that much money. I mean, those types of jobs are supposed to be for, you know, entry level people maybe still in high school or 18 years old, you know, or
even universities are having a hard time paying their staff and teachers, and they make it. You know,
they're so corrupt, man. It's
ton
like
of
the UC system, man.
Yeah,
these UC.
I know. I went to Cal, dude. I lived up in the Bay Area.
I'm in Berkeley right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Berkeley.
Not so nice, honestly.
Well, I mean, it's my home. It's nice in my eyes, but I see the other side of it too. So it's like it's good and bad.
Yeah,
you know, it's safe and it's relatively.
No, I love
nice.
it. I just meant, you know, it's not.
When did you go to school in Berkeley, man? That's interesting.
It's been a while, like a decade or more. Yeah, it was actually a lot better back then. You know.
How far
just in the
back?
past
I mean,
10, like about 10 years ago.
Okay, because I've been here basically my whole life. So.
I was up there. I was there the night Obama got elected, seeing the people climb the light poles and stuff. That was
yeah. Did you ever go to any
Telegraph
football games?
You know,
Tyward Hill. You come up to Tyward Hill.
You mean like above the football stadium?
The hill.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there, but I actually never went to a proper football game. Kind of sad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was too much of a nerd.
That's cool, man. Well, I didn't know you went
but
to
I
Cal.
mean, I love, you know, I have a lot of.
How was your experience there? Let me ask you that. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
you know,
because
yeah, man,
I'll just finish the question off with like a brief little statement. It's just like, you know, we used to be the free speech capital of the world, and it actually meant something when we first started that back then in the 60s. And now it's like we're the most hypocritical people. Like I grew up in this city thinking, you know, in the bastion of liberalism.
Yeah,
and democracy. You know, we're the greatest. The right is the bad. You know, and really, we're the worst. We're the biggest hypocrites. We can't get our act together, and we're. It's just I never thought I'd say that, but it's like the most hypocritical thing when you cannot let somebody speak. It doesn't matter if you don't like what they're saying. They should.
You know, when I went there,
you don't have to listen.
Change teams.
The free speech.
I'm in the middle.
They got free speech zones over there?
Yeah, people get sometimes beat up around here, man. It's like
that's what I'm saying. It's way worse. Like 10 years ago, there was really none of that I could see. Pretty much, it all started to get a lot worse when that like Milo thing happened. You know.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was
Um,
definitely I don't want to say staged, but like that was
kind
you
of
know, they-
was, yeah.
and then that and then also like remember the bike lock attacker, that professor or that lecturer from Diablo Valley College.
I don't remember that one.
Well, so after the Milo thing, there were two more like protests, and they actually like one of them turned into like a skirmish in the park.
Yeah.
And that stuff was weird because in other cities, I don't know the honestly I don't know what's going down. All that stuff is pretty weird.
Yeah, it's totally staged and so much.
Like
by
look
the
at
media.
look at Charlottesville. I mean that was just
that was we get
crawling
all
with
the,
federal agents. And,
I know we get all misconceptions about that. It's like the police let all these people just come up on the right side, that the people they thought were bad. I mean, it's like everybody. I'm in the middle about everything. Let me just make this clear. And I got love and respect for all cultures. I grew up in a whole rainbow of cultures.
Yeah,
that's all I've ever wanted to be. Is just like decent to everybody as long as they're decent to me. It doesn't matter what you look like, what race you are,
golden rule.
what your gender is. The golden rule. That's what it's about. And like more and more, I'm connected to that. I got love for everybody. But there's misconceptions so much about Charlottesville. For instance, like the police just held back and they just let
they pushed the crowds together, and also
they didn't do anything to
they
keep
were
them
outnumbered.
separated.
Like pretty much any like strong leftist type,
Yeah.
on the East Coast, they all went to Charlottesville.
And of course, you see the media is on the left side. Of course, we know that. There's only
Yeah.
like one station that kind of goes against
But
it.
the truth is both sides had agent provocateurs, is what it's
Yeah,
called.
for sure.
People are there just to rile stuff up. And
Exactly.
usually they have legal immunity, because they're undercover or an informant or
Yep.
something.
Yep. There's that common interest at the top.
And
they want to see a ruckus. They want a civil war.
What was about? Yeah, Tim Pool keeps saying that. And
Tim Pool, I listen to him. Sometimes I'm like, dude, he's not talking. He never talks bad about who he should be talking about when he talks about
Tim Pool's
foreign
interesting.
policy. But he does give some good information here and there.
I like him, but he's like, you don't really want to trust the guy. Like, you don't trust.
Yeah,
Andrew
I can't
like
trust
that.
him that big up at the top. He's making a lot of money too. It's like, and I would say, what is he like for what he does? He's probably like a top 10.
Yeah, for internet.
Probably. And
Independent, yeah.
But so sometimes he will say some things like, dude, you don't know, I think you're a little bit wrong on this here or there. But overall, I enjoy his perspective. I appreciate his perspective. I don't have to agree with him all the time.
Yeah.
It's
But
definitely
you mentioned
better
the
to
Civil-
listen to like Rachel Maddow or something.
Oh yeah. You mentioned the Civil War thing. That's why I mentioned
Yeah.
Tim Pool. But what's interesting is 6 weeks after 6 weeks after Charlottesville was the Las Vegas attack.
Dude.
And to me, both those things have a
what's-
theme of like Civil War, because it's like one side was
that's weird.
I mean, they're both polarized, like a country music concert, right?
Mhm.
I've heard
Yeah.
in the aftermath of Vegas,
Kind of against that kind of hick kind of country kind of, hey, we don't want that. We're lefty, liberalism, blah,
there
blah,
were
blah.
some retired and like law enforcement who were saying that you look at the motive, you look at the target to determine the motive. Like who benefits from why a country music concert.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of that? And I mean, it could obviously be all sorts of reasons, but the fact that it's Vegas is kind of Americana, country music's Americana, and then
Exactly.
it
It's a big like
so close after Charlottesville. And I mean, if you think about it, Charlottesville itself and the people who run Vegas, it is all very much connected.
Yeah, think of this. They could have just did like some random parade or like just in the middle of like a downtown setting in Las Vegas, but they wanted to, no, let's do a country, because they're down in the country and they're all racist.
Well,
It's
the
like-
night it was happening, people were saying it was Antifa. People were saying that this was a retribution. for
Man,
Charlottesville.
Antifa,
And
I
also,
hate that
actually, here's one thing I don't hear much at all, and this deserves all of us to just like think about for a minute.
Yeah.
The Vegas attack was the 100-year anniversary of the Russian Revolution and communism.
Whoa.
Really?
That's not
Yep,
weird.
to the month, I believe.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's weird. I didn't know that. You know what's weird though? Sorry to just real quick. In my mind, I was like, damn, I thought Charlottesville was after Vegas, but
no, it was 6 weeks before.
No, it was before.
I can't even
was a
remember when
big
Vegas.
eclipse.
Vegas was like what, November, December, or
Yeah,
October 1st.
Between
October
the two
1st.
events, yeah, between the two events,
2017.
17, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there was the Great American Eclipse, like a week and a half after Charlottesville, and about a month before the Vegas attack. The Great American Eclipse. It went from one coast to the other.
I
it actually
forgot
went
about
through-
that. Yeah.
It ran through right through Fort Sumter, I think. You know
Really?
where the Civil War started.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
eclipse, and the
Where
path
we,
of the eclipse
yeah.
is not that wide. I mean, like the total eclipse is in like a 10-mile or 40-mile wide band, so that narrow band ran through the country down all the way to where the Civil War started,
Man, that
or
war
for the
should never
pretext of
happen
the Civil
either.
War, rather.
Yeah. Oh, it
Yeah.
did start. It did start there. Yeah. The first real battle. You know.
You want to hear another interesting thing is in terms of astronomical and astrological symbolism and events and stuff. The anniversary of the United States is coming up pretty soon. You know,
That's funny.
the specifically to the planet Pluto. The planet Pluto's orbit is 248 years, and we're approaching that. That should be about 2024, I believe.
Wow, that's
So I
interesting.
mean, if there's going to be a changing or whatever happening, or something, I mean, it would probably be in that time frame.
You can't help but like looking at like what's going on overseas right now, and all the war and the warmongering, and how that's not connected with like these symbolisms in in the stars and the sun and the planets and this earth, astronomy and all that.
Yeah, well,
There's
that goes back to
there's
like
connections.
that goes back to the common themes that keep popping up in religions, like in the secret part of the religions that
Yeah.
it kind of all goes back to astronomy. Like if you look at
Their connections to the stars were like we don't even have it today. How connected they were.
since World War II, astrology's been turned into like this thing for women and for dating and stuff. And
Seems like it.
It was never about that before. It was always for kings and emperors. Basically, like any seat of power had a court. They called them court astrologers, for the royal court. And I mean, Queen Elizabeth I had an astrologer, John Dee, and he's the guy who coined the term British Empire before they built their empire. I mean, it's there's actually there's a saying among moneyed people: millionaires don't millionaires don't invest using astrology like billionaires do. And I mean, that sounds crazy, right? Because it's like, who invests money based on astrology? That sounds like some con artist thing. But, when they actually have, if they actually have someone legit doing the charts, it can actually show things like a big market collapse.
Yeah, that's the
M5. What are your thoughts on Edgar Casey, M5?
I'm not very well informed on Edgar Casey. I mean, I know he's like all about astrology, but unfortunately, I don't know too much about him. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know too much.
Okay, no, that's fine.
I mean, I hear his name.
That was
coming
a
up
question
and-
that was in the chat. I just wanted to. It was forever ago.
Yeah, I hear good things, but I can't vouch for him because I don't know his work. But astrology is one of those things where it's worldwide. There's like Chinese astrology.
It's been around forever.
And it predates what we know now.
Yeah, it definitely goes back to that ancient
Because-
civilization thing. Yeah.
Yeah, before like we're talking about the ancient Greeks, or ancient Egyptians from 1,000 to 5,000 years ago, maybe more. I'm talking about like 12,000 to 30,000 years ago. Those civilizations that we just.
Yeah, well, it's a cycle. Every I think
It is a cycle.
20
Everything.
something thousand years. There's like, because how the zodiac has the 12 signs.
Yeah.
So every 2,250 years, that sign, that constellation behind the sun, like whichever constellation is behind the sun during sunrise on the spring equinox, the first day of spring, that's like the dominant. That zodiac sign is the dominant religion and also theme of human development for that time period. So, for example, the past 2,000 years has been kind of mostly Christianity and Pisces, which is like hard to explain exactly, but it's the fish, symbolized by fish, which is like, I think Jesus.
They always use that fish for Jesus on the card.
and
too.
that could be the secret.
I always
society,
wondered that.
They love
yeah.
Me too. Is that yeah?
I mean, there's obviously the fisherman. There's obviously the fisherman. There's there's that in the Bible. I'm not saying that's not legit.
row fisherman row.
But the whole they like to kind of associate paganism with Christianity, like the harvest festival, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of these people are Masons. A lot of like the televangelists and what happened in Vegas was very much
Masonic
His
oriented.
symbolism. Yeah. You know, I mean, my whole username in this community is called Maroon 5, and for a reason. There's that.
I can't help but know that Adelson had to be involved in that, or Anelson, I should say.
You saw the music
Sheldon
video, right?
Adelson for sure.
Because he owned most of that property in that whole area. There's no way.
Well,
and he
no, MGM's actually different. MGM's more interesting than Adelson, in my opinion, because MGM, I think, goes back to like Shirley Temple type stuff, you know, old Hollywood,
Really? Yeah.
the old Hollywood creepy stuff they used to do, which is just as bad, but back then it was in the open more, I guess, or not in the open more, I should say. There wasn't the type of media where the country folk would find out what the hell's happening, you know, in the cities.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they kind of knew, but it wouldn't like travel like with the internet and stuff. But,
Well, the MGM movie company is not the same as MGM casinos.
Yeah, but I mean,
years
they split
ago
off.
they were the same company and they
That's what
split
I'm
off.
saying. Yeah, the legacy of Metro Goldwyn Mayer.
Right.
You know, they're huge.
Yeah, and then they split off into separate corporations years ago.
I think they started in like the late teens.
Yeah, and by the way, the biggest two tragedies in Vegas, I believe, ever, were the MGM fire and the Mandalay Bay thing.
Oh, I forgot about the fire.
That was
When was that fire?
1980, I think.
Yeah, it was in the 80s.
And there was some weird like mafia. I mean, that fire was basically like them taking out the mob or something. It was some weird. There was a lot of weird stuff going on with that fire. Like,
Man, I recently, sorry to say, but recently I was looking into old stories and a couple crazy fires, man. Like, it's crazy back in the day that, big ass theater fires and building fires, man. It's like,
yeah, it makes you wonder, like, were those occult events as well, right?
Yeah.
The Ghost Ship, Oakland Ghost Ship? You're familiar with that?
Hey,
Sure.
I had one friend I went to high school with that died in that fire.
Damn.
Josh Birnbaum, and then two other ones that I wasn't really close, but I met before because I had lived there, not when the fire happened, but I lived there a few years before that.
Yeah.
Right, about a mile away in the same area, kind of.
Yeah.
And I'd been there a couple of times to some crazy ass little shindigs. I wasn't really into that scene too much.
Those Oakland warehouse parties, right?
Yeah, I wasn't into those scenes too much, but one night, couple of nights, my friend would drag me out there and had a good time, Listen to kind of crazy dance music. I'm not really into that, but I mean, it was still cool.
Or something?
Yeah, more like
Burning Man.
I think I was there. I was like, oh, this electronic stuff, but kind of that Burning Man vibe. I've never been to Burning Man. I'm not really that type.
Yeah, I'm not. I've never been either, but that Ghost Ship thing was weird.
It was sad, man, dude. It was really sad. I mean, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it was
a lot of
definitely
great people burning that, man.
It was definitely sad because they were all young and they were probably all good people. Yeah, but
yeah.
Josh, the owner,
Josh, she was at one of the people that died. She was a great artist. Like one of my good friends, who I used to live with for a long time. I still hang out every now and then. He's a great artist too, but he used to go to these art parties, and I'll go to these art parties and stuff. And one of them, I got to know Aura Joe pretty well, and she passed away.
I don't know, I don't know too much. Like I don't know any of the people that were there or anything like you, so I can't relate on that level. But I can. But it was always strange. I mean, obviously, it was probably due to a landlord, or rather a tenant who was like subletting the whole place and was reckless. And I think they finally like got in trouble or something. But there's just some weird kind of symbolism behind that thing. I mean, not so much. Just the I guess it's part of being an artist in the Bay Area. There was a lot of like dark occult symbolism there. Like I mean, I'm not saying this isn't my own opinion. This is
yeah. No, I mean, your opinion is fine. I mean, it's your perspective. It's what you feel. You should express it. And I do think it was very, very tragic, and it was just kind of surreal. It was a total
how in the days there were like these theater fires and weird things, right? And like that was kind of a throwback or whatever.
Oh yeah, I could talk about one in a second, but like on the Ghost Ship, Yeah, it was like like I've been in a lot of those warehouses before, just like Ghost Ship. But this is not as big as other ones I used to go to some parties at. But
Yeah, no,
it
I
was-
know what you mean.
and
Yeah,
it was
Angela,
just
we are talking about that.
cluttered with everything. A lot of cool artwork.
Oh
lot of
no, it
musical
was like a
instruments.
maze. It was like a death
Yeah,
trap maze. And
there was a
Yeah.
shady ass little wood stairway that they built.
Oh yeah, made out of pallets.
It worked okay. Yeah, but
Yeah,
there's
no, I
also
can't
a
even-
back door, and there's also some spots I just didn't ever go in. I just only went in a few rooms, but yeah, you could totally see they don't have the electricity right.
Yeah.
Those old buildings and stuff, and those old connections. Yes, and going back to the city of Oakland, they're very incompetent, and they showed their incompetence multiple
you know
times
what-
because
Yeah.
a couple
No,
concerts.
I heard that they were they were looking the other way because these are artists and right,
Yeah,
you know.
maybe like that. Yeah, and it's also just it's not a priority because
Yeah.
Oakland has they're corrupt as hell and they mismanage their money all the time. They got
Let's face it, the people that are gentrifying the city, they like that culture.
exactly.
right?
That's part of it. Yeah, I guess that's
And you
part
know
of
what's
that whole
funny is
system.
that they're not even of that culture because they're
Because-
not actually like living in the warehouses like these
No,
artists
no,
are.
that's right.
They have their condos in Jack London Square, right?
So they look at it as like it's a lower priority. We don't want to make a fuss, Let them do what they want to do since it's going on all over half the city anyways. How are we just gonna worry about one, It's like it's too much work.
So you know what Bohemian Grove is, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I believe I could be wrong, but I believe Bohemian Grove is more Republican. Maybe they have Democrats too, but I know it's got a very big representation of Republicans.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's all mixed at the.
Oh, it
at
is
that
okay.
point.
But anyway,
I would say so.
Interesting quote. This is on Twitter, by the way. So it's
I would
not like-
I would say this real quick. I think since little clubs like that override any kind of political side.
Well, yeah, that's
because
part
they're
of
all
the
connected at
rules.
the top. So it's
They're-
like
yeah.
they're all in it together basically at that point.
I believe there's a rule when you swear an oath to secret society that you have to like put
I mean,
your fellow.
The left-right political paradigm. It's such a sham,
Yeah, I
It's just-
shouldn't have set that up by saying Republican, but it's
No,
not
no,
really
it's
even,
all right. It just
it's not
came
really
in.
it's not even really that relevant. But, there's a guy, a famous guy. He's now passed away. He, was part of the Bohemian Club. Famous Bay Area kind of activist guy. Anyway, I remember right after the fire happened, like that night, he tweeted. He said, he'd been to the Ghost Ship before, and that it was the largest collection of dark side religious symbolism he'd ever seen in one place. And I mean, this is a guy who, he used to write lyrics for the Grateful Dead. He was a really famous, he's a kind of activist for internet freedom, and he actually was one of the guys involved in WikiLeaks, like one of the core people.
What was his name?
J.P. Barlow.
He sounds kind of familiar, but that's
he started the EFF. Have you heard of Electronic Frontier Foundation?
No, I haven't heard of that.
They're like the ACLU, but for internet. They're like internet freedom kind of stuff.
Okay.
Basically, they're like the ones who, I don't know, are supposed to defend
Free speech and all
Americans.
that.
Yeah, and privacy.
Privacy, yeah,
It pretty much
privacy's
got
big.
thrown out with the explanation of
Privacy's been
privacy is-
extinct for 20
Yeah,
years.
that
probably.
was pretty much Snowden's job, right? To extinguish our.
But I mean, I applaud the fight. I mean, it's like you got to start somewhere. Whoever you are, if you want to do something and you feel
Yeah, no, I
real
like
about it, then-
I like Snowden. I just don't know if he ever left his primary job when he went to work for the NSA.
Yeah, there is some.
It's a kind of a turf war because what Snowden released totally damaged the NSA and made the CIA look like badass because they had built their own parallel network. They had literally built their own parallel. Like the NSA's got all this money, and the CIA has the ability to use them. They have all the they can just get their information from them. But no, they built their own network, and then they embarrassed the NSA, possibly using Snowden, and they took over WikiLeaks. Basically, it seems. Like the Vault 7 leak was literally the CIA just bragging.
Man,
It
I
was
feel
like,
bad.
Look at all this. Oh man,
Assange,
dude,
yeah.
Assange. Oh man.
I feel bad. Like, what's the last we heard of him? He's probably.
Wait, hang on. Someone in chat said something that kind of. Did anyone? All right, sorry, it popped up quickly. It said something about Barlow and the MGM fire.
Bob Donut said, I think the fire at MGM was a lead into Route 91. Barlow talked about it in the early 2000s.
Wow. Whoa, Bob's Donut, you just blew my
Really?
mind.
I don't know who
how
Barlow is.
Barlow
Who's
talked
Barlow?
about the MGR. I mean, I'm guessing he meant JP Barlow, but
I gotta check it
I
out.
don't know. I don't know, man.
Who's Barlow?
I was talking about the guy. He was a writer. He wrote songs for the Grateful Dead. He was like
okay.
He was basically a founder of the internet. He was like an internet pioneer back in the.
Oh,
80s.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yep, that guy. You know, he was friendly with both Snowden and Assange. He was like.
But I don't remember him talking about the fire.
No, he did on Twitter. Yeah, he'd been there. He'd been to that venue, and he said it was the largest collection of dark side. He used it in quotation mark. Dark
It
side.
was interesting. It was
religious
interesting.
symbols. So I think that kind of meant like maybe Satanism or those kinds of things. Like, you know,
Edward, can you look that up? That's interesting.
the JP Barlow tweet. Yeah, it's still up there, I think. Well, and you know, right before he died, he signed over the Freedom of the Press Foundation to Snowden. So Snowden's basically been running Freedom of the Press Foundation, probably indirectly WikiLeaks, for over a year or two since JP Barlow died. And as much as I do not like QAnon, like I don't really know or trust or what the hell QAnon really is. I don't know, but QAnon mentioned JP Barlow by name in the Freedom of the Press Foundation right around the time he died. Like actually, they kind of predicted his death. They were like, they posted about JP Barlow and Freedom of the Press, and then he died, like right then, something like that. It was weird, but you know, he was an older guy. He'd already survived like heart attacks and stuff. You know, I mean, it wasn't like it was a mysterious death. But Bob's Donut in chat, if you have any information about that, please type it out.
Yeah, they're just gonna let Assange die. They probably injected him with something too.
Assange has needed a root canal for like 7 years.
He's looked very ill when they show
Messed
him.
up, man. He's just telling the truth.
Like, X-ray on his lungs like 5 or 6 years ago. He's had some kind of I don't know what his health status is now. They stopped talking about it, you know. Like, so I don't know if he got better or if they just stopped complaining, you know. I mean, his lawyers and stuff.
They're just not talking about him, you know. It's
Pretty much
like-
everybody in WikiLeaks is like a spy. Like
I feel
all
like
the-
that. I feel
all
like
the
the
volunteers of WikiLeaks are spies, basically. Like Assange is the only one who, I don't know what happened, but like musical chairs, he lost his chair or something.
I feel like the next news we'll hear is like he died. You know,
Unfortunately, I mean, God, can you imagine needing a root canal for 7 years?
that's horrible, man.
Like having an infected tooth. I mean, that's like worse than any torture they can really.
Yeah,
do.
that's bad.
That's one of the worst pains I've ever had. You know.
Yeah.
Needing a root canal.
Yeah, exactly.
Weeks
Right. A root,
before
yeah,
that,
but you need a root.
I couldn't even go to sleep. I was like
Yeah.
sleeping in a feeble position because I was in so much pain.
I mean,
because
maybe he just like was able to get the tooth extracted. I hope he's okay. I hope he's not suffering. But you know, think about Assange. You know,
he just talked.
I wish 5x5 was here. He could, you know, hear this story if he had never heard it before. But
We don't want him here. He's not welcome.
Yeah, but he's always trying to vet me. You know, whatever that means.
Yeah, he's not welcome in my live streams. He's insulted me and done too much stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was being a bit sarcastic.
Hey, Truth
when I
Seeker.
said that.
Oh, yeah.
Truth Seeker, by the way, thank you for letting me on the panel. I appreciate it.
Oh, sure. It's
cool to
interesting to listen to you and M5 talk. You guys have good dialogue going on.
It's cool to shoot the poop a little bit, you know? Shoot the shit.
Yeah.
About all these things. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
Wow. Look at this. Okay, so Bob's Donut in chat said 2001 or 2002, which was a very interesting time for those of us who are
Oh,
old enough.
That's when I saw
But
UFO.
it felt like in that time after 9/11 was just surreal, you know, like
Surreal,
years after. Still is kind of, right? And
Kinda.
into the kind of, or we're just more used to it now.
More used to it, and I learned their game, you know? I figured out their tricks a little bit. I know they're all bullshitting.
Yeah.
So,
But
go
be
ahead, sorry.
because your expectations shape reality, right? So,
That's true. I'm always humble, and I'm never going to take everything for
yeah.
everything
And
because nobody knows it all.
that advice is for myself. This is much better than
Staying humble with all my beliefs and realizing it's okay if I'm wrong, you know?
So Bob's Donut in chat, and I don't really know an exact source for this, but I believe him, just because it's pretty bizarre, you know, claim, is that 2001, 2002, he was saying that the number 85 dead at MGM was going to repeat in 2017 or 2018 via music. That's really strange because, you know, he was a lyricist for the Grateful Dead, one of the most, I mean, I never really liked them that much, but they were a very influential thing, you know. And
Yes, they were.
and then Vegas and MGM. I mean, I can't think of any connection Barlow had with Vegas, other than perhaps like computer security conventions and stuff that he would have been affiliated with. He wasn't really that closely affiliated with. So I find it interesting. That's really weird. He would say that, but it kind of lines up with all the weird ritualistic and pre-planning. You know, the possibility that there was foreknowledge.
Oh, I definitely think there was foreknowledge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what? You know, it's funny when people like get so upset about the music video thing. I mean, I just don't see how anyone can see that music video and say, "Oh, what are you talking about? It was totally different. It was like a Godzilla guy. And there, you know, it was nothing. You know, the people running away in cowboy hats. You know, just totally unrelated. You know, I mean, I understand how it's not a literal depiction of anything, but it is pretty strange."
Well, that's pretty interesting. You mentioned the guy who was connected to the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, it's funny I brought that up, and then the guy in the chat, that was serendipitous. Huh?
You know how the Grateful Dead were partially CIA funded.
Yeah, that's why I was going to call them
a
crime family. They were basically a cult.
Okay. So there's got to be some connection because it goes down to the psychedelic music movement that happened in the mid to late 60s. You know, Doors and bands like that. But it was connected to Southern California. You know, the passion of music in Laurel Canyon.
The LSD was literally made down here.
They would, yeah. So, well, one connection, like I think probably you guys know that Jim Morrison's dad was one of the
a lot of the Laurel Canyon,
the whole false flag attack, the Gulf of Tonkin.
Yeah,
the Gulf of Tonkin.
That was his dad, and of course he's highly connected. So, but there's too much evidence out there showing that the MK Ultra program, which is widespread, it was casting a wide net on a lot of things, from drugs to music to propaganda of all sorts.
Well, it's just kind of like now, 50 years after that all happened, they're trying to do counterculture in the opposite direction,
Exactly. They're trying to tear us apart again. It's like, so yeah, that's all connected to that music and to the Grateful Dead, because back when the Grateful Dead was starting, they would sell, the CIA, people would hand out free LSD and just try to get them hooked on this stuff. It's like get mixed with our mind.
Seeker, is Bob's Donut 5x5? You really think so?
No, I don't know. We're just teasing him. But the thing is we asked earlier, and he didn't know who 5x5 was, and now he does.
I think people might. Well, I don't know. But
a sense of
specific. That's a very specific claim that JP Barlow would have mentioned it in a concert. I mean, now I want to go fact check that. So
yeah, check it. I think that's really interesting.
I think that guy's gone. Yeah, I wish him the best, man. I mean, I don't like to see anyone suffering. So
I'm trying to fact check it and I can't find it.
I hope 5x5's doing well wherever he is.
Cheryl, Jason Aldean is who was performing when the shooting started.
What was I going to say?
So,
but yeah, there's a connection with that music and the MK.
Oh yeah, Grateful Dead is basically a crime family, like a type of mafia, and I believe they used to have their members pledge by licking or something.
I was never into them, but my dad was really into them, so I remember listening to them a lot growing up.
Yeah,
I'm not talking. Never did it.
I mean, they were, when I say crime family, I mean not exactly Hell's Angels, but yeah, they were basically
not as bad as the Bushes or Clintons.
They were like a hippie version of the Hell's Angels, where they were basically the big LSD kingpins for decades, I believe. And they had a bit of a cult-like thing where, in order to get inducted to the family, you had to lick or something, like a crystal of pure LSD, which basically is could make a person probably get brain damage or something.
Yeah. But it's I see that. And the lies we hear about everything today, it's all connected, It's all connected. At least to a certain point, Yeah.
Well, back in the Grateful Dead days, that was the acid era. I mean, everybody back then was doing it.
Yeah, but apparently to get it for a period of time, you know, you had to like know someone in that Grateful Dead family.
No, that is not true.
No, I mean like in the 80s.
I'm really,
90s.
really old, and I'm telling you, back in the 60s, acid was everywhere, 60s and 70s.
No, but I'm saying in the 80s, I'm saying in the 80s and 90s and 2000s.
No, I could go get it on any street corner in the 80s, and I had nothing to do with the Grateful Dead.
Okay,
you must
well,
be really young.
I'm talking more
I'm
like
55. Trust me, there has never been a problem finding acid in my whole life that I can remember.
True Seeker, if you don't mind me asking, where are you from?
Detroit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah.
I got
Probably why
family-
acid's so easy to find. But I also
got
lived out in California. There was never been a problem getting acid since the 60s.
I've got family from Flint, but they fled in the 60s.
I actually never looked. I've never done acid, but
No, I didn't either, but I made a little bit of money.
I know it's not probably too hard to find. Yeah.
No, but I'm just trying to say it's like your myth of thinking you needed to know somebody in the Grateful Dead or attached to that to get it. That's not true. It was everywhere.
I was just saying like an actual.
Okay, fine. I should have said big distributors and those kinds of
Give it out for
things.
free. They would just hand it out for free at some concerts, you know.
Well, yeah,
Try to
there
get-
was that too. Absolutely, yeah.
In the 70s, yeah, a lot was handed out for free.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you know, Tim Leary, believe it or not, is kind of connected to Epstein in a way. They were both very interested in AI and singularity, technology, the internet, that kind of stuff. And one of Tim Leary had godsons. I don't know how many godsons he had, but I think he had like more than one godson. You know, it's kind of like a more informal thing. But one of them ended up being the head of MIT Media Lab. He's like a Silicon Valley venture capitalist guy. I think he invested in Twitter. And he had to step down because it turned out Epstein had funded some of his stuff. And they connected it to MIT, which I know is, you know,
he had a wide net, man. He had Epstein did.
Yeah.
What a sham that was, what they told us about him, you know.
Yeah, what I find interesting is there's no talk about Epstein being gay. You know, he had that billionaire who helped finance him was supposedly his lover. I mean, I don't know.
Epstein?
I don't know if he was gay or just bi.
I never heard that.
I don't know if he was gay for pay. But
I know he was a
basically-
pervert going after all those young kids.
No, I mean, he ran this blackmail cult, but you know, a lot of the times these people that spy agencies will use are, you know, like they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't deal in the product they push, you know? So like he had this whole thing about all these women and stuff, but they're never talking about the, what happens in Hollywood, the prolific abuse of, you know, underage.
You know about
men.
Sean Atwood?
Sean Atwood, is that no?
Check him out because he has some of the best stuff on. There hasn't been much recently in the last few weeks about Epstein coming out, but there's drips.
Yeah.
Well, actually, a couple of days ago there was because they released some pictures of supposed.
Did you see the pictures?
I saw.
Yeah, there's a CPAP machine in his cell. You know that hose reminded me of the hotel room in Mandalay.
Yeah, the CPAP machine in his cell, and there was prescription bottles and stuff, and it's like they don't let you have that.
They don't leave a bottle in there. What the hell is that all about?
He has I think he has a really great perspective on Epstein. He has like probably around 100 little videos on Epstein, and you should check
Atwood,
it out.
yeah.
Sean Atwood.
I've heard of him.
He's an English guy. He has a good perspective because he was in the system too. You know, he was in prison for a while for drug stuff, but he also had a inside kind of take on a lot of things, and he knows how prisons work, and he's done a lot of research about the whole Epstein thing. Well, you know, check him out though. He's got good info on him. Sean Atwood. I just like to have a try to hear every perspective, you know. Take it in.
Does anyone think Epstein's still alive?
I don't. I think he got taken out. That's my personal opinion.
I don't know. It could be either way, honestly.
I think he got murdered.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something though. It's interesting that after he got murdered,
I think they killed his plastic surgeon.
I mean, didn't the impeachment balls start rolling after he got murdered?
The impeachment ball's been rolling for a long time.
No, but I mean, actually in committees and stuff, like when they started, you know, when they
I don't
started.
know that, but like they first talked about it on his first day when he got.
No,
when he
okay,
got-
that's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what kind of ball, but like there was a ball going on. Yeah.
No, but I meant the process, the actual like the preparation, the process. I believe was when either Bolton left or around the time Epstein got killed.
Yeah. How long ago was that? Like mid
And
August.
you gotta
maybe?
figure the Epstein thing. It's all
July,
about blackmail, right? So whoever had the blackmail, is no longer bound or something, or they all like.
Wouldn't you have a kill switch if you're planning out all that stuff? You've been scheming.
Yeah, the thing is, a
That
lot of people don't see is Epstein was kind of a nobody. I mean,
like-
Epstein had all this money and all these mansions, but who was he really? I mean,
The
like,
Clintons got a bigger kill switch.
Exactly. So they got. That's why they probably killed him. That's why.
I mean, in the spy world, they call it a cutout when somebody is like a front man. When somebody's like a front man and they're not like really having any power, they don't really have power. They're
he never had the blood.
Yeah, I don't think Epstein actually had like real power. I think he was basically an errand boy, a gopher. I mean,
But
they call him a gopher, like person. That's what they call it.
A big part of it is like he never really had any of that blood. He never had any royal blood or Clinton the Bush.
Yeah, I don't know.
blood.
Yeah, he's kind of like a commoner. I know it sounds weird.
Doesn't it seem like that though? I don't think I've heard anything about his bloodlines, but I don't think they.
I mean, Epstein, the name Epstein, I think has some meaning to it, but other than that, I can't figure out anything about. I mean, it's a big name. There are a lot of important Epsteins, so I don't really know.
Point out,
Yeah, I honestly don't know what his deal is. But
another reason why they just take him
I mean,
out.
like Maxwell, like his girlfriend.
Doesn't matter who you are. Yeah, Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell is from a more important family just by virtue of what her father was known for. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know.
She's alive there in one of the only countries in the world that I know of that they did not do extradition for crimes is Brazil, so they could seek asylum in Brazil.
Yeah, someone just posted about Rusty Shackelford. Yeah,
Did he disappear?
I heard people making jokes that it was like Rusty Shackelford was actually John McAfee, but I don't believe that because McAfee is just too.
What's his name? Like Mark Brunell? Who's the other guy that? Who's
Art
the guy?
No, I don't. I've heard that name too. I don't know who it is.
Or something like that.
But Rusty Shackelford was the guy with the drone, right? Who was flying.
He was the one that kept filming the drone stuff and every day putting a new video up.
Yeah.
Yep.
That guy vanished.
They're saying he
quit
going to the
putting
island
videos up
and vanished. Wow.
Dude,
huh.
because I've seen that guy in like I saw some stream where he was in, I think, man.
Yeah, I swear I've seen Rusty Shackelford a lot, but it's a character name, right? From King of the Hill or something?
Yeah, but there was a guy that was using that, fake name, but he was filming that drone stuff every day. They probably stopped his drones, but maybe he's still around.
Well, that's just not surprised, man.
No.
They're watching all of us.
Don't know. They might have stopped him.
There's a reason why they don't know we don't know the real truth because they got plans in place just in case people by the side.
Yep.
Okay, now
Epstein's body on 60 Minutes looked like Anthony Bourdain.
Man, Anthony Bourdain, has anybody looked into that, or is that he was just probably unhealthy?
I don't believe any of them killed themselves. Honestly.
Yeah.
even Robin Williams makes you wonder, right? I mean, did he actually
Yep.
have Lewy body dementia? Or did they just tell him he had Lewy body dementia?
I always wonder if they just snuff these people out because they're going to
Yeah,
talk about
they could
something.
have tricked that guy. I mean, with Robin Williams specifically, well, there's a few things I heard. One is if he actually had dementia, people with dementia talk. They lose their filter and they revert to So there's that possibility. There's a possibility that they convinced him he had Lewy body dementia, and I believe they were giving him medications that would have the side effect could have caused what he may or may not have done, or he just could have been straight up murdered.
Maybe they thought he was kind of a threat. I mean, it's a common theme. You talk about Jimi Hendrix, maybe.
Oh,
John
here's
Lennon,
a real red pill. The guy,
Peter
remember that
Tosh.
remember that
These are
Patch
all
Adams?
killed for the name of the CIA and their programs they've been known to do.
You remember that movie Patch Adams, right?
Yeah.
I never
So
saw
the
all of it.
real life Patch Adams,
Right.
I forget. He either got money from Epstein or he had some weird connection.
Really?
Yeah, it was something really sinister. Yeah. Oh, he was also, I think, defending. I remember what it was. There was this pagan guy who, He got kicked out of his Crowley group. You know, Aleister Crowley, OTO, for like
Yeah.
being too
Barbara Bush's dad.
enthusiastic when he was like killing a goat or something, and then basically what's his name was defending the real life Patch Adams was like trying to defend the like getting children involved in animal sacrifice or something. I mean, it was something to do with the Satanic Panic, actually. Not
Right,
yeah.
and then but Avicii, you know, Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington, those were all. I believe Chester Bennington
Avicii,
actually
thank you for reminding me
did
of
kill
Avicii.
himself. But
Nobody
Avicii,
makes that kind of music video that he made. Nobody makes
A
that
Better
and gets away
Day.
with it. Yeah.
Look up the music video, A Better Day.
If anyone has not seen that music video, you can't do that and get away with it really in Hollywood. You know, they won't let you. Even if you're
Yeah,
in
that's-
Sweden or Oman.
That's what killed
Hollywood,
Avicii. A Better Day.
He was
That's
killed
one
in
thing-
he was killed in Oman, which is not like a, you know, I mean, I don't know if that
But yeah, but like, who's gonna choose to kill themselves by cutting up a wine bottle and just slicing their body with it the way Avicii did? I mean,
yeah, in a foreign country, no less.
52. Yeah, exactly.
It's like Gary Webb, who was committed suicide, 2 shots to the head.
Yeah. Yeah, Oman's actually interesting. Right now, Oman's playing
Right.
a clear, not a clear role, but I believe Oman is playing a role as a broker between the Saudis and the Iranians. And actually, there
Look
was
up
a
a picture of Chester Bennington next to John Podesta when they were both 40. They're
yeah.
identical.
It looks strange, doesn't it? The chat was mentioning Kate Spade's weird death and Michael Jackson. I don't know, Michael Jackson. I think the tour company, the record label was trying to get revenge.
Prince,
I can actually speak to Prince. Prince, I believe. I don't know what really happened with Prince for sure, but I can tell you that his inner circle and the medical professionals they attempted to contact, or they did contact rather, the people who found his body. You know, they came just like minutes too late, or hours too late rather, and they specifically went with someone out of state. They didn't go to a local hospital or a local, you know, rehab or addiction doctor. They called someone very highly regarded from out of state, and they couldn't get there in time. But you know, when you look at, I can't give names, sorry, but you can look this up online. I guess the name is out there, but if you, anyway, basically, it's just some weird shit.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great example. Talk about Prince, you talk about Michael Jackson. It's just a great example of how man-made synthetic drugs are
Yeah, you
killing.
know what actually killed Prince? Not a lot of people know this. It was in the news, but it was kind of buried under a lot of stuff.
Killing us.
Prince didn't die from fentanyl. He didn't die from opiates. You know, he didn't die from. He died from like this research chemical out of China that was like technically legal at the time. You know,
Chinese drugs. Oh man, Chinese
like-
man drugs.
yeah, it was like a fake. It was like a fake opioid that was technically
not
not.
good. It's like
So,
the
like-
fake weed, man. They have fake weed out there that people.
Yeah, that's been around a long time. Yeah, that was actually a huge problem for the military like 10 years ago or so.
Another thing too. It's like it's a shame that everybody in this country, in this whole world, if you're old enough and your parents say it's okay, you should be able to smoke whatever the heck you want.
Well, I mean, yeah, I got to think what's really messed up is that people will take an untested thing called a research chemical that could damage their brain just because it's legal. Just
Yep.
because, you know, something isn't outlawed
that's-
yet.
makes
they'll roll
people
the dice.
go-
And essentially what happened with Prince is it seems like he was buying counterfeit Vicodins and they
good.
had this thing in them, and that, you know, he might have just been unlucky.
Yeah.
But when I heard the doctor that they called, and I actually know who
Stay
this
off
is,
pills, everybody.
basically, I mean, you were talking all about the California social programming type stuff. You know, he's not that old for it to be like in that position in the 60s, but basically a product of that whole Joe Rogan-esque orbit in terms of being
I call them shit bubble liberals.
shamans, essentially. They're like the
Oh,
new
the
age.
shamans for the real shamans that like.
No, I mean the more like the fake, you know, the ones that are not at all native to anything. The ones that just steal every other religion and says every god is fake.
Yeah. I don't know the word for that, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But it's just a great example of our loss of connection and how we're being controlled and taken away from our true connection to the earth. and what it brings us. And those man-made drugs, synthetics, they're not made for us, and that's why people are dying.
Yeah, I brought it up because of Prince. Someone in chat mentioned Prince, and a lot of people don't know that's technically what killed him. And that's why they gave him 2 Narcan shots when he had that emergency plane landing after the concert or something. And they had to give him Narcan twice because that research chemical thing is like notoriously bad at stopping people's breathing. So it's like resistant to Narcan.
I'm trying to get.
They should have known right then. They should have known right then that he was like taking poison, even more poison pills than what they were supposed to be. But unfortunately, his entourage, his inner circle, whatever, they're just a bunch of new age, or bad people. So they hired a guy who was like kind of a woo-woo Californian who is lucky he didn't get in trouble. It seems like, I mean, I don't know if he broke the law necessarily, but yeah, it's kind of unethical to like take a patient in a state where you're not licensed to practice.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think that might have been the case with him. Yeah, he got lucky.
But
it's he got connections to Berkeley too, by the way. I shouldn't go into any more detail on that one.
That's all good, man. Let it out.
No, it's cool. But too bad for Prince, man.
Yeah, too bad for Prince, man. I wasn't the biggest fan, but I guess after he did die, I did appreciate him more. I mean,
I was not the biggest Prince fan until I was lucky enough to see him live. And
did you see him in Oakland?
I've never seen anyone that talented. Like he could play the guitar. He like literally is like I was seeing Jimi Hendrix play. Like the way he played guitar was pretty
crazy.
Yeah. He did a cover of Led Zeppelin and like went on for like 10 minutes or something.
Wow.
He covered Whole Lotta Love by Led Zeppelin. Yeah. Like crazy guitar solo.
That's
He
cool.
played like 30 songs too. I mean, yeah. I saw David Bowie too, actually. He was pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
My sister, she teaches now in Brooklyn, pretty nice school, but she taught like David Bowie's son. I mean, not son, daughter.
Okay.
Daughter. Like 5 or 6 years ago when she was in like 8th grade.
Oh, okay.
But she had met with David Bowie a couple of times, just talking to him because it was a private school. It's a nice school.
Yeah.
And said that he was the nicest guy, man. That's what she
Yeah.
said.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just kind of cool to hear like a perspective. How was, because you hear stories about celebrities like, and we glorify them too much, and I'm pretty much against that nowadays. I'm like, I see through it. But you hear about stories like, yeah, this guy was an asshole in real life, like, or this guy was like really nice. He did all this and this and this. But you hear about it here and there. That's kind of interesting, but I don't glorify celebrities anymore. It's part of that game that they're playing on us. We just need to get back to our humbleness, our love, empathy, golden rule, spirituality, and peace. But truth above all that.
Since I'm like never on these shows almost, does anyone have any like questions regarding I mean, I know I'm always showing that damn music video. I assume you've all seen it, right?
Yeah, everyone, let's ask some questions in the chat because I'm going to close this down soon. It's almost 3 a.m. here.
Yeah, shit.
Thank you, Truth.
That's funny.
Anyone got any questions though?
But then again, it's a fair question to ask M5 though, because every time we have Charles Beckman on, he asks if anyone's heard Stephen Paddock's voice. So,
it's so okay. The voice is a great one. The music video, I like the music video because I feel it's something that could like unite people. Because
what's the name of that video? I'm gonna play it.
What Lovers Do.
All right, I'm gonna look it up. Hang on.
Newsmaker, I wouldn't. No, because you're gonna get this stream cut if you do.
Mute it. You got to mute the. You can only play the video, not the song.
I can show the video without the song.
Yes, the video won't do copyright. It's only music.
All right, hang on a second.
Well, mute the song.
For music videos, I'm pretty sure they don't care. For TV,
And then-
Audio be fun.
And then play A Better Day too, the music video, but to remove the song that way they can see what we're talking about.
I mean, the Maroon 5 music video, it's loaded with stuff, so you gotta like kind of know, like, there's like a giant Saturn in the sky. You gotta know like what does Saturn mean.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm seeing a ton of them for it, though. How do I know which one to play?
It'll say official music video.
It's got like Adam Levine on the cover. It used to have what was the icon? They changed the thumbnail pretty recently. It's amazing that video never got taken down. Because like there'll be, remember that movie Collateral Damage, the one with Arnold?
Yeah.
They filmed that whole damn movie for 9/11. They changed the movie. It was supposed to be in the Middle East, not South America. Get down, yeah.
Well, just look at the list of songs from 9/11 that radios have banned off the radio after 9/11. There's a huge list.
Oh, I did. So it's like the equivalent book burning of that era. Yeah, I didn't even remember the banning of music from the radio at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what songs would be banned.
All right, M5. I just pulled it up, and it's showing like a bunch of kids running with butterflies.
That's how it starts. That's how it starts. So it's got the crown. The crown.
All right,
of
so
monarch.
that's the right one. All right,
Yeah.
hang on a second. I'm gonna screen share it without the sound.
So it's got the monarch butterflies. It opens with.
All right, I didn't know if I had the wrong one.
It opens with a crown of monarchs, and then got the giant Saturn in the sky. It's got the talking animals, anthropomorphic animals. Maybe they're like, okay, we're not gonna like pull it off YouTube. We're not gonna, whatever. It's over 400 million views. I would think that some of the comments would be
400
like, this
million
is
views.
over
Wow.
400 million views. Yeah, some of these comments would be like, this is insensitive. This is I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff. The song came out 33 days before the LVS shooting. The music video came out 3 days before, and then they played the venue 3 months after the attack. And the best friend of Adam Levine died around that time in December.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, who's also the brother of what's that actor? Jonah Hill, I think. Jonah Hill's brother in real life. Yeah. It's not his real name, by the way. It's like Feinberg or something. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what all that's about, but I do know the music video creator because I'm actually a fan of his movie. He made a couple movies that were pretty good, and he made jokes about like being in the Illuminati, which I know is just a joke. Whatever, everyone does that, but it's just kind of funny when there's something that strange, Lots of symbolism. Yeah, a person would have to understand to connect to LVS. Yeah, except for that end. Look at the date. Once the person would have to look at the release date or have watched it shortly after release and just notice the ending. It is obviously Vegas and it's obviously a big happening. The Boy Scout thing is interesting because, the Boy Scouts were funded heavily by, well, I don't want to get into the names, but like the people who founded the Federal Reserve, the families involved in that. And yeah, it seems like a Christian organization, right? But there's like Masonry and unfortunately the child abuse.
Child abuse is bad in the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, I luckily I never had to deal with that, organization. But yeah, it's there's the whole Masonic element and the whole like pedo grooming element and yeah, just it's also a nickname. If anyone's seen that movie Spy Game, Tony Scott, by the way, Tony Scott's awesome. He's the better of the Scott
I
brothers.
think I've seen it. I can't remember though.
Yeah, the one with what's his name? Brad Pitt and Robert Redford. But anyway, I don't know if it's like true or not, but basically, Boy Scout is like it's a slang term for somebody, who follows orders, has a lot of skills, like a special forces type of person or a contractor. Speaking of contractors, I meant to say earlier when you mentioned Plato and I was mentioning the Academy, do you know what the current name of Blackwater is?
No.
Academy. They changed their name to Academy.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, and they're owned by the company that owns Caesar's Palace.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Apollo. Yeah, they're called Apollo Management Group. They're a big like hedge fund or private equity. And it's not that big a deal, but I think Apollo and Caesars are like similar. It's Greek Roman, I think, right? But still, it's similar
Interesting.
theme. And then Academy
Interesting.
is also the same theme. I mean, you know, Academy, Plato's Academy.
Well, speaking of people hanging themselves, suicide by hanging, Tony Scott.
No, he did it. He did it on a
Really?
bridge, though. He jumped off a bridge. I thought. Did he hang himself on the bridge?
No, he jumped. Yes, he jumped. Yeah, that's
jumped, yeah,
right. He
'cause that's
did
a-
jump off a bridge,
Yeah,
didn't he?
yeah. You know, and he had just had a meeting about Top Gun sequel. He literally just met with Tom Cruise in the Air Force, and then he killed himself.
That's another suspicious one, I
2 or
think.
3 days later. I mean, what did he
Yep.
say? He said, "I don't want to do it." You know, like I don't know. But yeah, no. Honestly, out of the two brothers, Tony Scott always seemed like the one with integrity. His brother Ridley Scott is very. I mean, he makes good movies, but he's very full of himself. And I remember what Ridley Scott said to his brother Tony. He's like, "Come work for me, and you'll get to buy your first Lamborghini within a year or something like that."
Yeah, Ridley Scott's kind of a dick.
Ridley Scott, yeah. I mean, I like his movies. Don't like his attitude at all. But Tony Scott, you know, he always got made fun of, you know, but his movies actually made more money than Ridley Scott. You know, like
Yes.
our film critics would make fun of him all the time. In fact, I wonder if that actually like. You know, I mean, obviously he could have been murdered, but if he, hypothetically, if he did take his own life, the film critics really should have felt guilty the next day, you know, because they really gave Tony Scott a shitty life in terms of his, you know.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause Tony
you know,
Scott
they
had a
just-
bunch of good movies too, right? I mean, he did
Tony
Man
Scott
on
did
Fire, Top Gun,
Yeah.
Deja Vu, Enemy
Well,
of
the thing is,
the
it's
State. He did a lot of really good ones.
Yeah, no, Tony Scott is like more the all-American guy, you know, like, I mean, his movies were popular with like normal people or, you know, real people, where like Ridley Scott was more like the elitist, you know, elitist globalist type.
Right, yeah.
Okay, does anyone in the chat have any questions before we close down?
I'm just trying to figure out if Bob's Donuts actually 5x5 or not.
He left.
You think it is?
Thumper's been thinking it was for a week.
Well, he started making some more outrageous claims, and now I'm thinking,
That was to throw us off.
yeah, maybe.
Is that the guy that jumped off the bridge in Long Beach Harbor? There was an actor that jumped.
Yeah, San Pedro.
Just last
that,
year. Yeah.
Really?
That bridge in San Pedro. Yeah, it's a scary place. Discerning Light. It's all like harbor or whatever, port of Long Beach. Oh, hey, one last thing I want to mention that kind of ties into Vegas. Possibly. Remember that weird plane crash in California, like on the Super Bowl? And then there was like those helicopters that did that drill, like down Wilshire Boulevard.
Yes.
That may have been connected to Vegas.
That was weird for sure. I don't know if there's a Vegas connection, but that whole thing seemed like a drill for sure. Or
Well, I
like
don't
they were
remember.
pulling somebody out.
Yeah, drill or an actual thing.
An extraction.
So the properties they raided, one property was Long Beach, Port of Long Beach, their security building. They literally blew the doors
Right.
off of it and raided it. Don't know what that was all about. They said it was a drill. I believe, again, this is a QAnon tie-in. As much as I do not like QAnon, sometimes there are these weird things they get right. And of course, there could be obvious guesses they're making that, you know, make sense. But they were mentioning Port of Long Beach. They were mentioning Chinese influence. They were mentioning all sorts of details. And the other properties that were raided with live explosives was in Wilshire Boulevard. They didn't even clear the whole block. They landed helicopters without clearing the block of like debris or people, which could like destroy a helicopter, right? And I think they have to like sweep landing zones somewhat before, so things don't go in the intake of a helicopter. And also they flew right by a hospital, like between the buildings. Like they don't. The army doesn't. The army has a lot of lawyers, you know. They
Oh yeah.
seem,
I
they
thought there's film footage of that, I think.
yeah,
The
there
whole
is film
MSC,
footage.
yeah.
And they also, the other thing is that they announced it the night of, like after it happened. They're like, they're going to be drills all week. That was like the week of the Emmy or the Oscars, I think, actually. So I mean, there were a lot of theories, like, you know, is it just a drill or was it live? And yeah, they would never do a drill near a hospital, like in all those populated.
I actually almost remember them saying it was the night of the Oscars.
Yeah, the
possibly.
night that Well, the night of the Oscars was that week. I don't know if it was on a Monday night. I can't remember, but
Usually Oscars are on Sunday nights.
okay, yeah. So maybe it was the day after, or I think it was the week run up to the Oscars. I think maybe that was it.
Okay. I know everyone was
yeah,
starting
so
to get
people in
the town
chat
for
were
that. No.
Heck,
people in
aren't
chat
the
were-
Oscars coming up?
Again, yeah, they will be. Yeah.
Yep.
So at Phoebe Beach is asking Adam Schiff Connection Hotel. I think she's talking about the Standard Hotel.
Hollywood scum.
I haven't been able to verify the Standard Hotel stuff, but I can tell you that CEO with all the cap teeth, he does look really weird. I mean, you know, there's probably some weird stuff going on there. I can't tell you what it is because I don't know, but I can tell you the helicopter thing. You saw those choppers swarming while I was on the freeway. Oh, really? Damn. I didn't see them live. I saw the video. So that the building they raided on Wilshire was owned by this lawyer. Both buildings they raided were owned by this lawyer who's connected to that Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and the Nexium cult, it seems like.
Yeah,
So
that's
and
what I
Nexium,
thought.
Nexium was like very much linked to the intelligence agencies, it seems like. And I don't know exactly what they were doing, if it was like just Epstein stuff or more than that.
Interesting.
I thought it had something to do with like child sex trafficking. That's why they did that.
Well, isn't this the interesting
drill.
thing? Isn't this interesting with both Epstein? With Epstein, they're only talking about teenagers. They're only talking about like girls 16 and up, basically.
That like young ones, yeah. They can grill
No,
them.
but I mean that's not really the issue. I mean that sure that is a legal issue or whatever, but like that's not. It's just kind of like Weinstein, you know, like what Weinstein was doing was pretty much.
It's not your typical like Pizzagate
Seems
child
so.
sex, you know.
Another good one is Matt Groening. You know that there was an article about Matt Groening on Epstein's plane and how he asked for a foot massage and this traumatic like
That's the
basically-
Simpsons guy.
Yeah. So the Simpsons guy had like really bad feet, and the woman was like, I had to give him a foot massage and I gave him a manicure and I joked with it. You know, it was a compelling
Kinda detailed.
story.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, honestly, someone's gonna blow the whistle on the Epstein plane. They're talking about a foot massage. I mean, do you really
Yeah,
think that's what?
exactly.
Do you really think they were
No.
having 16-year-olds get foot massages? Do you really think that's like? I don't think you guys understand how. Not you guys, but I mean, I'm saying. I was, yeah. You know, Franklin cover up and Boys Town and all those things. They go for kids. You know, it's not like I mean, they don't blackmail senators with 16-year-olds. That's just not how it happens.
Right. There was one.
It's the same way
in
they handle
England.
it's the same way they handle the Afghanis. The whole fucking Bakabazi thing. you know?
There was one, there's been some cases though, like one of the governors of I forgot the state. God damn it. A couple governors have been involved in that. I think one got
The
fired.
Afghani stuff?
Not the Afghan stuff, but like the Epstein stuff.
Oh, yeah, it was Bill Richardson, I think, from
Yeah, Bill
New
Richardson,
Mexico.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So it does get up there. And
I mean, I do believe Epstein was targeting because he had this whole thing about like impregnant. He was trying to clone himself or make.
Yeah, he had.
So obviously, he probably did have sinister interests in women that were like teenagers. But I'm just saying that it seems a little bizarre that there's all this smoke and like no one's talking about the fire.
Yeah.
I mean, the fire
Right.
being like prepubescent people that it's pretty much known. It was known in the 30s and 20s that Hollywood praising them. In fact, here's something interesting. Actors and actresses used to be the lowest of society. Did you guys know this?
Well, yeah, it definitely has changed. It's not like it was how we glorify them.
Yeah, like 100 years ago, the theater, they were like the weirdos.
Ordinary people. There
I mean, they were-
where they're turned into weirdos for sure. Yeah.
They were kind of like they were looked
Freak
down
show,
upon.
like a freak show.
They were looked down upon because they're professional liars, right? It's like they're pretending. So it's kind of
Right.
like, yeah. And I mean, people would go to the theater, but it was just seen as kind of a
It
raunchy.
wasn't the same. Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
the same like it is now.
Yeah. And then exactly, now it's totally like these are the leaders of the world. George
I know.
Clooney or
That's why
Matt
I'm-
Damon, they're going to lecture you on all sorts of morality, right?
Yeah, so I can't, I like the old movies, but I can't really support the new stuff, and I try not to glorify any of these celebrities because it's just nonsense. They're all actors. Just acting.
Yeah. And then, I mean, what you realize what most of these people have to go through to be in that position, you really can't take anything they say at face value, you know? You see they're married to somebody, but, you know, they're married to, like, look at Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
These people probably hate each other, and I feel bad for their kids, but they're all just kind of there for us to laugh at, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you feel bad. You start to feel bad for famous people when you realize what kind of situation they're in.
You're right when you think about like Catherine
Maybe it's
Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas, right?
You know, I don't even know who's to say that some of these people aren't actually like, you know, a real situation, but because I honestly don't know. I don't know if that's real or not. You know, like they could have actually been. You know, the age difference thing isn't necessarily like. I mean, that is kind of weird, but that,
Yeah,
to
it's
me,
a
that one
stroke.
never rang a bell. Like the Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas. I always thought that was pretty normal.
I didn't think it ever fit. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be the crazy one.
No,
there.
maybe no, because you're older. Maybe you know you have more like.
Yeah.
I have not
How
seen
old are you?
I remember her though.
Edward's
no.
not old.
But I bet you
I'm
if I
not-
saw
I'm
a
not
recent
that old.
picture of her, she would like. That's like 20 years ago since I last seen her. Really. You know?
Like Jack Nicholson and Laura Flynn Boyle. That one was.
Oh, an interesting one I just heard about was what's her name? Not Denise Richards, but the other one. Who's her? Who's in that movie Bedazzled? Remember the one who played the devil? I can't remember her name. Elizabeth Hurley. Liz Hurley.
Elizabeth Hurley. Yep.
Supposedly, she had to do some terrible stuff for the Clintons. Like, did you hear about this recently?
Really?
No.
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell how much of this is fake news because sometimes some like article will come out and it's from like truepundit.com. You don't know whether it's true or not, you know. But yeah, there's someone was trying to connect her to Epstein and Clinton's.
Was she a
And
child
who was
actress?
her
Yeah,
who
she
was
a
her
child
husband?
actress.
Her husband. Oh, Hugh Grant. That's right. I think it was Hugh Grant was her husband at the time. Yeah, a lot of Hollywood's gay. Basically, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is that most
Yeah.
of the men have to do things that like you know. I mean, it's just as bad for the men as the women, and that's something that like,
Right, exactly.
nobody will
So
tell you.
anything
Nobody,
going on-
and the music industry is always worse too. And as bad as the film industry
But I'll
seems
tell you
like,
what, the men that will tell, they get killed or they die.
yeah. What's
Like
that?
Corey Haim.
Yeah, there are only a couple exceptions recently, and they probably got punished in other ways, like that Terry Crews guy.
Corey Feldman,
Yeah.
he's still around though.
Feldman, it seems like a, you know what Feldman bothers me
I
about
love
Feldman.
those. I love the Goonies.
Feldman
and Stand By
accepted
Me.
though.
Yeah,
Like-
see, the problem with Feldman is he's like, I need $10 million to tell my story. You know?
Yeah.
He, like literally is trying to raise.
I haven't checked into that.
The
in a
guy's either
while.
so damaged he can't, you know, help, you know, can't like stand up for what's right, or he's compromised. And if you look at Corey Feldman, he has one of those things where he copies people, like he copies the people that he idolizes. So he used to be close to Michael
Maybe,
Jackson.
yeah.
He used to be close
Right.
with Charlie Sheen. And he used to be close with
Yeah.
Corey Haim. And if you look at his face, the plastic surgery he's had, if you look at his everything about Corey Feldman, he's emulating those three people. He's
Looks
literally
like it,
a
man.
combination of Michael
He looks
Jackson,
like it, yeah.
Charlie Sheen, and Corey Haim. He looks like all three combined.
That's weird, man. That's weird.
But in
Yeah.
the end, he turned his back on Corey Haim because
Oh,
Corey
yeah,
Haim before he.
Yeah.
He
Did
You know.
Corey Haim call him out on some reality show, like saying that you?
Yes, they
he
were sitting at the table together, and Corey Haim's like, "Why don't you admit?" You know, and nope,
Really?
he
Yeah,
kind of
he-
just walked
yeah.
away.
Yeah, it
I've
sounded
never
like
looked into it.
he like
Much
Feldman
recently.
was actually like selling Corey like down into a bad situation back then when they were kids.
Exactly. Yeah,
And supposedly Charlie Sheen was the guy. That's what the rumor is.
I think it. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think that's what I heard anyway.
They did do that one movie.
Charlie Sheen had a really terrible. Yeah, there was
You know that movie, Lucas.
That was
Lucas.
that was like what they, you know, supposedly he was abused over by.
Wow.
And Charlie Sheen got some crazy karma. You know, I mean, I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
really know what happened with him. He got blackmailed for like $1 million, and he actually paid the ransom or blackmail. And then it turns out that he got HIV from the person. I'll just say person. I don't want to give away details, but basically, they gave him HIV and like blackmailed him with the sex tape of it, and he didn't even
Oh
know.
wow! Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's what you call winning.
And then what he did after that is he exposed over 1,000 people to HIV over the course of a few
Yep.
years. So it's like became the
Yeah,
big
that's terrible.
public health.
Wait, dang. So do you think there's other celebrities that could be recognizable by name that might have gotten it from him?
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, there's probably, possibly. But at the same time, I don't think he was really sleeping with celebrities in this time because this was like, I think after around the time he left 2.5 Men, like, you know, this was around the time he was doing the whole Tiger Blood thing. And I think he was basically going off the deep end because he found out he got HIV from a person who blackmailed him. And that person got killed, by the way. That person disappeared in a very, yeah, he probably had that person killed.
Wait, was it who
Well,
was
him
that?
or, you know, yeah. Jim or
Who was
Martin
that?
Sheen, one of them.
It was
Martin Sheen was very disappointed. Man, Martin Sheen.
It was a porn star that had sex with him that was not born a woman, if you catch my drift.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yes,
can you
I do.
imagine?
I was gonna say like, because it doesn't sound like it was a woman.
Yeah, how did he get HIV? Yeah, how does a man get HIV? You know, like it's I mean, anyway, hey, you know, I don't know what he went through as a kid, you know, like I mean, Martin Sheen seems like a pretty good guy, but like, you know, probably
I loved a lot of his movies, but yeah,
I mean,
you know,
yeah,
he got caught up in it.
yeah, well. Anyway, Truth Seeker's probably falling asleep, and my battery's at 6%.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably call it too, guys.
Yeah,
Thank
I am
you.
getting ready to fall asleep. This is a good show, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
thank you, Truth Seeker, for having me on, and thank you everybody for the discussion.
Yeah, thanks, y'all.
Yeah, it was a good variety of stuff. It was great.
Yeah, well.
Thanks everyone in the chat for hanging in there with us so late.
Yeah, bless up to the chat. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bob's Donuts, 5x5. Have a good one.
Have a good
Yeah, I don't think it's 5x5 anymore. He's put different things in there.
Okay, thanks, Bobs. Hopefully I see you around.
Yeah, Bob's had some good information in there.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night. Maybe I'll catch you next time.
Thank you,
hopefully.
Maroon 5. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good one.
Thank
Later. All right. That was a good show.
Yeah, it went into a million different topics, so it was good.
Yeah, Holly Weird. Phoebe is right. We went into the Holly Weird section, which actually Daff wants to kind of delve into that too. He wants like a pop culture night. So I told him when he's on my show, we'll do that. So
Yeah, that went really well. I'm just really tired. It's like 3:15 here. I don't know. Some of you guys in California, like Bamboo is in California, so for him it's only like midnight.
mhm.
Okay, good night, everybody. Have a great night. Should I do a
Good night, y'all.
closing
Thanks.
song?
Yeah, if you want to.
What song? Someone pick a song.
Bob's Donuts. Pick a song.
Did he pick one?
No, he will. Give him a minute. I want to see what kind of music he likes.
All right, that's a good one. That way we'll have a closing song and then we'll know it's over when that song's done.
They're probably going to hit you if you pick AC/DC.
Even if I just show the lyrics?
Oh, well, what's the yeah, if you do a lyric video, I've had video songs where they hit you. AC/DC, Garth Brooks will hit you.
All right, let's avoid AC/DC then. I'm trying to think. Okay, I found a song. It's a good one. I gotta wait till the commercial gets over. I hate how all these commercials are always in here.
Everybody smash that thumbs up button on your way out.
Okay, I am going to play our last song. Everyone have a good night.
Bob's Donut wants to hear Zappa, Titties and Beat. The fuck is that?
Now he seems
What
more
song?
like Eddie.
What song you got, TS?
You'll see in a second.
Oh, okay.
All right, it's coming on right now.
All right, y'all. Thank you. Good night.
I think I'm gonna do
Thank
one
you
more
all.
song.
Oh, you are? Oh, shit. Okay. You gonna play Titties and Beer?
No.
Oh, hell. Sorry, 5x5. You're probably not 5x5. I just like picking on you. Bob's Donut seems very informative, though.
Okay, I gotta figure out the screen share again. Okay, this will be our last one. Like I said that last time, I know.
It was hit with 2 Maroon 5s, so you think 2 Stingers?
Walks slowly down the street with the brim pulled way down low. Ain't no sound but the sound of his feet. Machine guns ready to go. Are you ready? Hey, are you ready for this? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Out of the doorway, the bullets rip to the sound of the beat. Yeah. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. How do you think I'm gonna get along without you when you're gone? You took me for everything that I had and kicked me out of my own. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? How long can you stand the heat? I'm down with the bullets right to the sound of the beat. Look out! Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. Hey! Oh, take it! Dust! Gotta dust it! Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Ow! Another one bites the dust. Hey, hey! Another one bites the dust. There are plenty of ways that you can hurt a man and bring him to the ground. You can beat him, you can cheat him, you can treat him bad, you leave him when he's down. But I'm ready, yes, I'm ready for you. I'm standing on my own two feet. I'm a door where the bullets ring. Repeat it to the sound of bass. Oh, yeah. Another one bites the dust.
Who the hell is Giggles?
Giggles is one of the new people I subscribe to. I have friends you don't know.
Well, did they comment or something? Because apparently
Yeah, I just
They
saw.
blocked me.
She just said hi. You're probably not
Oh.
blocked.
Oh, she said, "Hey, way up there." Let me see. Oh no, I'm not blocked. Yeah. Damn, that's gonna turn into a music night, isn't it?
Well, there's still 17 people in here, so I didn't want to just cut them off cold turkey. If anyone has a song request that's not bad, I'll play it. I'm
Should
gonna
be
go to
some beer in
sleep
bed.
soon. Huh?
No. It's a good song. Oh, if you see anybody called the Roofer, throw them out, probably.
Who is it?
Called the Roofer. I'll send you a link here after the show.
I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride. I'm wanted, dead or alive. Wanted, dead or alive. Sometimes I sleep, sometimes it's not for days. The people I meet always go their separate ways. Sometimes you tell the day by the bottle that you drink. Times when you're alone, all you do is think. I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride. disaster. I got the pedal to the floor, my life is running faster. I'm out of money, out of it looks like self-destruction. Well, how much more can you take all on this destruction? We're flirting with disaster, y'all know what I mean. And the way we run our lives, it makes no sense to me. I don't know about yourself or what you want to be. We're together with the time we choose our destiny. I'm traveling down that lonesome road. Feel like I'm driving a low. Yeah, I try to turn my head away. Feel about the same most every day. You know what I'm talking about, baby? Speeding down the fast lane, hunting with plans from town to town. The boys and I've been burning it up, can't seem to slow it down. Got the pedal to the floor, our lives are running faster. We got a sight set straight ahead, but I ain't sure what we're after. Flirting with disaster, y'all damn sure know what I mean. You know the way we run our lives, it makes no sense to me. I don't know about yourself or what you plan to be. We're together with the time we choose our destiny. Yeah, we're traveling down that lonesome road. Feel like I'm dragging a head below. So I try to turn my head away. I'm with disaster every day. And you are terrible. It ain't better than you know the way we run the lives, it makes no sense to me. I don't know about yourself or what you plan to be. We're gamble with the time we choose our destiny. Yeah, we're traveling down this lonesome road. Feeling like I'm dragging a head below. So I try to turn my head away. Yeah. I'm working with disaster every day.
Hold on, this song has an introduction to it. When you're supposed to be sad, though you might feel it that way. It's a song about desperation. Every now and then we get desperate. This is a song about L-O-V-E, and if you abuse it, you're gonna lose it, and if you lose it, you're gonna abuse it, and if you abuse it, you ain't gonna be able to choose it, because you ain't gonna have it further on down the line. Things ain't gonna be so fine. You're gonna be sitting there on your little machine, trying to look and keep it clean. You're gonna be playing bingo all night all alone. That's why you're sitting there by the telephone, and you know that she ain't going to call you. So you put on the TV and you're watching Johnny Carson segueing right into the Tomorrow Show, but that don't got to go. So you turn it off, you turn on the radio. The radio don't seem to get the click. So you say, hey, man, I can't look at the split. You start to open up a little book and there's something there you got to overlook. You say, baby, you know there's something on my mind. You say, baby, there's something on my mind. I know that you're home and I know you ain't all alone. So you start walking over to a house. You get over to a house, you walk over to a door, you start pounding on the door. You say, open up the door, bitch, it's Woofa Goofa with the green teeth, and let me in. Well, she opens up the door, and then you just kind of walk up to her and say, baby. You look up way up at her green mascara, and you say, oh, my darling. You know, her and me was at the party as friends. Do not believe what they say. That's only gossip that they're telling you down the wisecracker line. You say, darling. Take your big curls and just squeeze them down, Ratumba. What's the name of that chick with the long hair? Rapunzel. That's right. Hey, Rapunzel. Hey, Reputa. Reputa the beauty. Hey, Reputa the beauty. Clip me down your hair. Let me climb up to the ladder of your love. Because this is Woofa Goofa saying to you. Love comes once, and when it comes, you better grab it fast. Because sometimes the love you grab ain't going to last. And I believe I must have. You know, I think I must have. You know, baby, I think I must have. You know, I think I must have. I must have got lost. Never thought about tomorrow. Seemed like a long time to come. How can I be so blind, baby, not to see what I was? I let you slip on from me, baby. I let you walk on by. To the love you had for me, I refuse to love, I let it by. Must have got lost. Must have got lost. Must have got lost somewhere down the line. Must have got lost. Must have got lost. Give away the days you're mine. Don't know why I let you leave me. Honey, I don't know. Say it's hard to see loving coming, baby. Honey, I've always seen it go. Must have got lost. Must have got lost. Must have got lost somewhere down the line. Must have got lost. I got lost. Give away the days you're mine. Love can be a sweet thing. Girl, I just don't understand. Made a game out of loving you. Now, oh, losing hand. Oh, must have got lost. Must have got lost. Must have got lost somewhere down the line. Must have got lost. I got lost, girl. Give away the days you were mine. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And I must have got lost. Must have got lost. Must have got lost somewhere down the line. Hey. Must have got lost, baby. I got lost, girl. Give away the days you're mine. Must have got lost. I got lost. Must have got lost somewhere down the line. Must have got lost. Oh, I got lost, girl. Give away the days you're mine. said your love got me higher than I ever been lifted. Oh, I said your love got me higher than I ever been lifted.
Who got lost? Really? He leaves his truth in you and comes back as TAU. You're gonna give it a thumbs up from all your soccer accounts, right? Truth in you. Good job, Maroon 5. Thank you.
want to take you away. Get down tonight. Yeah, you know, get down today. Pick you up, take you away. Get down tonight. Well, all right.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna close it down. Okay, guys, I'm gonna close it down. Everyone have a good night. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. That leaves your options wide open. Edward, you want to say anything before we go?
Hang on, I'm just reading the chat real quick. Soleimani bin yeah, right? Well, just thanks Maroon 5 for coming on. Thank you everybody for watching. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you next time. Thanks, M5, for coming on, and Bamboo. I think he left the chat, though.